When Zixuan came out of the university library with his school bag on his back, it was already dark. Neon lights flicker among the high-rise buildings, barbecue stalls on the streets are bustling with activity, and the air is filled with the scent of cumin and chili pepper. He rubbed his sore eyes and muttered to himself, I stayed up late to write my thesis again, and I have to work in a coffee shop tomorrow. When will this day end? As an ordinary junior student, Zixuan's life is very much like the rhythm of this city, busy but dull. His parents farmed in his hometown, so he came to this bustling city to study alone. He studied computers. His dream was to find a stable job after graduation so that his sister could go to college. I don't have any big ambitions, I just want to live a down-to-earth life. The coffee shop is in an alley in the city center, not far from the school. Zixuan pushed open the glass door, and the familiar aroma of coffee hit his face. The proprietress Xiaoli came up to us with a smile, Xiuxian is here. There are many people today, please help me make a latte. No problem. Zixuan put on his apron and operated the machine skillfully. Customers come and go, including office workers in suits and street singers carrying guitars. At around 10 o'clock at night, the store gradually became deserted. Zixuan was wiping the bar and accidentally looked down and saw something flickering in the light in the corner. He bent down and picked up an ancient jade pendant. It was green in color and had vague runes engraved on its surface. It looked like a prop in a costume drama. Who dropped this? Zixuan frowned and looked around, but saw no one. He wanted to put it in the lost item box, but suddenly he felt his palms warm. The jade pendant seemed to come alive, emitting a faint green light, and the warm touch penetrated directly into the skin. Zixuan was startled and almost threw it away, but the light became stronger and stronger, and the surrounding air seemed to be distorted. Hey, Xiuxian, what's wrong with you? Your face is so pale. Sister Xiaoli poked her head out of the kitchen. No. It's okay, maybe hypoglycemia. Zixuan forced a smile and stuffed the jade pendant into his pocket. As soon as he finished speaking, there was suddenly a low buzz outside the store, like the vibration of a subway passing by, but even weirder. The street lights flickered a few times, and a faint mist rose from the high-rise buildings across the street. In the mist, the shadow of an ancient stone arched door appeared faintly. The door was covered with vines, like an illusion emerging from the ground. Zixuan's eyes widened and he rubbed them, thinking he was dazzled. But the arch became clearer and clearer, and several figures in modern suits walked out of it, holding strange instruments in their hands and scanning the surroundings. Their movements are professional, but with an indescribable sense of mystery. One of the middle-aged men whispered to his companions, the spiritual energy fluctuations have become stronger again, and this area of the earth is about to recover. Inform the university that the admissions examination must be brought forward. Zixuan's heart was pounding. He hid behind the bar, his mind in a mess. What is this? Movie special effects? Or are you too tired and hallucinating? The jade pendant was slightly hot in his pocket. He secretly took it out and took a look. The runes on the surface lit up, as if guiding something. An inner monologue flashed through, isn't this thing an antique? What if I get into trouble? But curiosity scratched him like a cat's claws, and he gritted his teeth and decided to follow and take a look. After closing, Zixuan rode a shared bicycle, following the glimmer of the jade pendant, through several alleys. The night view of the city should be familiar, but tonight is different. In the gaps between high-rise buildings, blue halos occasionally flashed, like hidden neon lights. In the park on the roadside, an old uncle sat cross-legged, eyes closed, and the air around him was slightly distorted. Zixuan speeded up, feeling anxious. How many secrets does this city hide? I am an ordinary person, nothing will happen if I get involved, right? The jade pendant's guidance became increasingly clear. It was like a built-in GPS, pointing to an inconspicuous old building in the city center. Zixuan stopped the car, took a deep breath, and opened the door. The lights inside are dim and the walls are covered with recruitment posters, but there is a strange fragrance in the air that makes people feel refreshed. There were a few people sitting here and there in the hall, mostly young faces, all looking down at their phones or books. The atmosphere was depressing but exciting. "Hey, brother, are you here to sign up too?" A passionate voice came from the side. Zixuan turned his head and saw a sturdy young man with blonde bangs, a sports vest, and a dragon tattoo on his arm, grinning. Well, yes. Zixuan nodded, trying to be as low-key as possible. He is not a person who likes to strike up conversations, but this guy's enthusiasm is like fire and cannot be stopped. "My name is Guan Ting, a senior. I heard that the exam opportunity at Xiuxian University is rare. If you miss it, you will regret it for the rest of your life." Guan Ting patted Zixuan on the shoulder with such force that he almost staggered. "What about you? How did you know this place? The registration point is hidden deep enough that you can't even find it on the map app." Zixuan hesitated for a moment and took out the jade pendant from his pocket. "I just picked this up. It brought me here." "Xiuxian University? What is that?" Guan Ting's eyes lit up, and he came over and whispered, "Tsk, this jade pendant is not simple. It's green, it must be a spiritual thing. Brother, you are so lucky. This university is a holy land for cultivating immortals hidden in the city, and only recruits talented people. After the spiritual energy is revived, the ancient ruins reappear, and they use high-tech instruments to detect spiritual veins and interpret maps to find opportunities. If you pass the exam, you can go in to learn immortal arts and become famous." Zixuan was stunned for a moment after hearing this, and he had more questions in his heart. But Guan Ting's passion infected him, and he asked in a low voice, "What is the initial challenge? It sounds quite mysterious." Don't panic, the first level is the spiritual awareness test. See if you can sense the fluctuations of spiritual energy around you." Guan Ting blinked. "I have a good physique, I think I can pass." "What about you? You look thin, don't be nervous, I will protect you." Just as he was talking, a middle-aged man in a robe walked into the hall, holding a tablet in his hand, and said in a loud voice, "Dear candidates, registration has begun. Please place your spiritual objects or qualification certificates on the scanning table. Remember, this is a secret examination of Xiuxian University, and confidentiality is the priority." When it was Zixuan's turn, he stretched out his hand nervously. As soon as the jade pendant touched the scanning table, a green light burst out, and the lights in the entire hall flashed. Text popped up on the tablet, "Ancient Spiritual Vein Guidance Jade detected, qualification confirmed. Spiritual Consciousness Potential, a level." The candidates around him were whispering, some were envious, some were jealous. Guan Ting whistled, "Awesome, brother. A level, this is the genius level." Zixuan was not so excited. He felt an invisible pressure. The man, later Zixuan found out that his name was Professor Jiangwo, glanced at him and said seriously, "Boy, good luck does not mean strength. The preliminary challenge begins now. Close your eyes and sense the aura vortex in the center of the hall, and tell me what you see." Zixuan took a deep breath and closed his eyes. The noise around him gradually faded away, and he felt a warm current pouring into his body from the jade pendant. At first there was nothing but the sound of a heartbeat. But gradually, a picture emerged in my mind. There was blue light hidden under the floor of the hall, intertwined like subway tracks, converging into a vortex, pulsating with ancient energy. It's blue spiritual vein clues, like a river, rising up from the ground. Zixuan whispered, his voice was steady, without any panic. Professor Jiangwo nodded, "Not bad, a rare accuracy among newcomers." "Passed." Guan Ting patted him on the back excitedly, "Have you ever seen a genius? This is it. Let's go, brother, let's go through this together." Zixuan opened his eyes and raised the corners of his mouth slightly. A thought flashed through my mind, so I have this kind of potential. The anxiety is still there, but more of a curiosity. This world of cultivating immortals is hidden under tall buildings, waiting for him to explore. At this moment, there was a low roar from deep in the hall, and a black shadow flashed across. It was the guardian phantom beast that was initially challenged to test the candidate's reaction. Guan Ting shouted, "Coming! Be careful!" Zixuan instinctively retreated. The jade pendant became hot again, and he felt something awakening in his body. The black shadow rushed toward him, but he did not flinch, but stood firm. An idea flashed in his mind, and he silently recited the guidance of the jade pendant. The black shadow rushed toward him like a ghost. In Zixuan's mind, the guidance of the jade pendant turned into a clear voice: "Concentrate and move as you wish." He instinctively stretched out his hand, and a green light flashed in his palm. The black shadow actually twisted in mid-air and dissipated into a wisp of smoke. The entire hall was silent for a moment, and then a low exclamation erupted. "Passed! This kid's reaction is so fast." Guan Ting laughed loudly and put his arm on Zixuan's shoulder with as much force as if he was shooting a basketball. "Brother, your A-level spiritual knowledge is not something you can't build. The initial challenge is so exciting, but you have to fight hard later." Professor Zhengwo stepped forward, data flashed on the tablet. He glanced at Zixuan, his tone still serious. "The Phantom Beast test is over, you two have passed. But remember, this is just a warm-up. The preliminary test of Xiuxian University will be tomorrow morning at the hidden entrance of the underground passage in the city center. Bring your jade pendant and don't be late." Before turning around and leaving, he added, "Boy, you have good potential, but the road to immortality does not rely on luck, but on brains and courage." Zixuan nodded. The uneasiness in his heart was still there, but there was more of a faint excitement. The jade pendant cooled down and he stuffed it back into his pocket. He whispered to Guan Ting, "This place is so weird. Underground passage? It sounds like a subway station, but why do I feel that the whole city has changed?" Guan Ting blinked, moved closer and said, You are just getting started. Come on, I will take you around to get used to this city where ordinary cultivators are mixed together. Immortal cultivators hide deep, but opportunities are everywhere. Just like this jade pendant, maybe one day you pick up a treasure and you can ascend." The two left the old building, and the night wind blew in, carrying the scent of street food. Zixuan got on the shared bicycle, and Guan Ting followed behind, chatting while walking. The neon lights of the city are still flashing, but now Zixuan feels different in everything he looks at. Behind the glass curtain wall of the tall building, there is an occasional flash of blue light, like the pulsation of hidden spiritual veins. At the entrance of a milk tea shop on the roadside, a young girl lowered her head and played with her mobile phone, but she inadvertently circulated her spiritual energy. The air was slightly distorted, causing pedestrians around her to avoid it unconsciously. "Look over there." Guan Ting pointed to an old residential building and whispered, "That's the entrance to a small cave. It looks like an ordinary apartment on the surface, but it's connected to an underground spiritual spring. Students from Xiuxian University often go there to practice, but mortals can't get in, the spiritual energy barrier blocks it. I tried it last time and it made me dizzy." Zixuan slowed down and squinted. There were several electric cars parked downstairs, peanuts and chili peppers were drying on the balcony, and it sounded like an ant was chatting. But when he concentrated and the jade pendant heated up slightly, his field of vision seemed to lengthen. Inside the building, a hidden stone staircase extended downwards, the stone walls were covered with runes, and the surroundings were filled with mist, like a small fairyland. A flash in my mind, how many secrets like this are hidden under this city? High-rise buildings cover ancient monuments, and mortals and cultivators just pass by. It's so cool, Zixuan couldn't help but say. I used to feel that life was too ordinary, but now it seems that ordinary is just an illusion. Guan Ting laughed, my opponent. Before the first test tomorrow, we have to learn the instrument first. Xiuxian University uses high technology to detect spiritual veins. Talent alone is not enough, you have to know how to operate it. Let's go to the basement I rented. I have a borrowed starter kit. They turned into an alley. Guan Ting's basement was actually a converted garage in an old community, filled with fitness equipment and snack bags. He pulled out a silver box from the iron cabinet. After opening it, there were several handheld instruments, a scanner the size of a mobile phone, with a waveform diagram displayed on the screen. The other was a pair of head-mounted glasses with flashing holographic projections on the lenses. Here, try this spiritual energy detector. Guan Ting handed the scanner to Zixuan and put it on his head. Aim at the corner and press the green button. It can capture clues of spiritual veins and convert them into maps. The exam at Xiuxian University is about this, interpreting the simple runes of ancient ruins. Zixuan took it, and the instrument felt cold to the touch, and it buzzed after starting up. He scanned the garage wall, and a blue curve popped up on the screen. Weak spiritual energy flow detected, similar to underground veins, intensity level 0.3. Yes, that's it. Guan Ting clapped his hands. Now imagine that in the city underground, these clues are connected to form the great spiritual vein. On the ruins map, the runes hide mechanisms, and a trap will be triggered if you solve it incorrectly. Brother, I have a strong physique and can pass the physical test stably, but the knowledge test depends on your brain. Zixuan smiled and tried to adjust the parameters. The instrument projects a virtual image. A thin line winds beneath the garage floor and merges into the main road outside the alley. His original perspective opened up his imagination. He imagined that this clue extended to the entire city, like a central nervous system, connecting to the hidden cave. There may be a ladder to immortality hidden in the elevator shaft of a high-rise building, under the subway tunnel. It may be the source of the awakening of dragon veins. This feeling of interweaving ordinary life and cultivation gradually transformed him from an ordinary student into an explorer. Okay, let me try to decipher it. Zixuan put on his glasses, and the instrument simulated a simple sketch of the ruins, several interlaced curves, marked with the ancient symbols, and he recalled the guidance of the jade pendant and speculated, this is the hour talisman, pointing to the noon time when the spiritual energy is strongest. The clues converge in the southeast, which is probably the entrance to a small secret realm. Guan Ting's eyes widened. Awesome. Is this all right? I was stuck in the introductory course taught by the professor. You are born for this industry. The two practiced until midnight, and Zixuan became more and more familiar with the technique. Guan Ting showed off his physical fitness. He smashed an old dumbbell with one punch and said it strengthens his physical fitness and will be useful in exams. Zixuan saw this and thought, with such a warm-blooded buddy, the pressure is much less. In the early morning, the first test location was a secret passage at exit B of the city center subway station. The entrance is disguised as a maintenance door, which can only be opened by scanning the jade pendant. Inside is a spacious underground hall with soft lighting and spiritual vein simulation diagrams projected on the wall. 20 or 30 people have gathered among the candidates, most of whom are young faces. Some are in neat suits and some are wearing trendy sweatshirts. The atmosphere is full of elitism. There was a competitive tension in the air, whispers mixed with jealous glances. Professor Zhangwo stood on the podium, holding a microphone. The preliminary test is divided into two parts, knowledge assessment, interpreting spiritual pulse clues, physical fitness test, simulated adventure endurance. Before starting, let me introduce the use of the equipment. Remember, this is the threshold for Xiuxian University, and the elimination rate is 90%. He distributed the detectors and the candidates were busy debugging them. Zixuan and Guan Ting found a corner, and just as they sat down, a cold voice came from the side. Is your jade pendant an ancient spirit drawing object? A-level potential is not common. Zixuan looked up and saw a girl, long hair reaching her waist, wearing a simple white shirt, with a cold and frosty temperament, and arrogant scrutiny in her eyes. Her name is Yun Shu, and judging from her name tag, she is the daughter of a family that cultivates immortality. In the hall, someone secretly glanced at her and whispered, that's a genius from the Yun family. He has a special bloodline and specializes in interpretation of ruins. Well, I picked it up by accident. Zixuan replied in a low voice without saying much. Guan Ting was excited. Beauty, are you applying for the exam too? The two of us have just practiced the instrument, so we can form a team together. Yun Shu glanced at Guan Ting and raised his lips slightly, but did not refuse. Team formation. The initial test is allowed, but the competition is fierce. That guy Jun has already set his sights on you, the children of his aristocratic family, jealous of the newcomer's talents. She pointed to the distance, where a gloomy young man was looking over with a sneer, playing with a metal pendant in his hand. Zixuan's heart tightened, feeling the pressure of the elite atmosphere. These people had been immersed in spiritual energy since childhood, but he was a newcomer. But the warmth of the jade pendant kept him steady. Thanks, Yun Shu. Can we help each other? It depends on your performance. Yun Shu said briefly, then turned around to adjust the instrument. But her eyes stayed on Zixuan for a moment longer, seeming to be interested in his wit. The knowledge assessment begins. A simple ruins map is projected on the screen, curves intertwined, runes blurred. Candidates need to use instruments to scan and interpret the location of the hidden cave that the clues point to. The hall fell silent except for the buzzing sound. Zixuan took a deep breath and started the instrument. The screen displayed waveforms, and his mind was racing. The curves resembled Beijing's alley pattern, and the runes hinted at the Meridian Gate, pointing to the underground of the Forbidden City. No, it's the urban version, gathered in a hidden spot in the Wangfujing business district. Original perspective flashes. There are many tall buildings there, but underneath is the ancient cave sky, with spiritual veins entrenched like dragons. The clue points to the entrance of Wangfujing Underground Shopping Mall in Dongqing District. It will be activated at noon. The probability is 85%. Zixuan entered the answer and the instrument flashed green. The examinee next to him made a mistake, and someone cursed, "Damn, this rune is too obscure." Guan Ting scratched his head. I thought it was lunch time. Yun Shu's answer was also correct. She whispered to Zixuan, yes, your interpretation avoided false lines. Jun's side deliberately misled the two newcomers. Professor Jiangwo inspected, nodded and said, Zixuan, Yun Shu, pass. Guan Ting, you have enough physical strength to make it through. In the distance, Jun snorted coldly, his eyes like daggers. Physical fitness test continues. Simulated underground exploration. Candidates carry instruments on their backs and pass through a laser maze to test endurance and reaction. Guan Ting was like a fish in water, leading the way, pushing away obstacles with his strong body. Come on, this is fun. He pulled Zixuan to dodge a spiritual beast projection, and his physical advantage gave them the lead in the group. Zixuan followed behind, using instruments to scan the path as he ran. Turn left, avoid the weak spiritual veins. Yun Shu cooperated tacitly, and the three of them formed an initial tacit understanding, her bloodline induction warning, Zixuan's smart navigation, and Guan Ting's strength to open the way. At the end of the maze, Professor Jiangwo announced, the passing rate of the group is 30%. You three, your performance is outstanding. Take a 5-minute break and the next round will be more competitive. Zixuan panted, wiped his sweat and looked at Guan Ting and Yun Shu. Guan Ting grinned, the team is invincible. Yun Shu nodded slightly, a temporary alliance. Jun will not let it go. His family has a conspiracy. A warm current surged in Zixuan's heart. From a lonely wage earner to this elite circle, he felt like he had changed. The jade pendant trembled slightly, as if urging, there are more secret realms waiting ahead. At this moment, deep in the hall, a secret door slowly opened, revealing blue light. It was the passage leading to the next stage. Blue light gushes out from the hidden crack in the door, like the reflection of an underground river, with a coolness and faint aura fluctuations. The three Zixuans filed in along with the other candidates who had passed. The walls on both sides of the passage were made of smooth metal, with protective runes faintly engraved on them. The sound of footsteps echoed inside, as if they were stepping on the pulse of the city. Guan Ting came closer to Zixuan and whispered, "I heard that this place is a simulated urban ruins, with real spiritual vein clues connected underneath. Isn't it exciting? Brother, the spiritual energy in my body is starting to agitate." Yun Shu walked beside and replied without looking back, "Don't yell too loudly. The actual combat stage is in team mode, with 3 people in each group, and the task is to detect the hidden spiritual veins in the simulated ruins. Those who fail will be eliminated directly." Professor Zhengwo said, "Rely on the team, not alone." She glanced at Zixuan, with a hint of recognition in her eyes. "Your intuition is good, you just saved us in the maze. Team up." Zixuan nodded. The excitement in his heart has not faded away, but there is a faint pressure mixed with it. These people are all the proud ones of heaven. What about him? An ordinary person who picked up a jade pendant. Okay, let's go together. Guan Ting, you open the way and I'll scan. Yun Shu, do you sense the warning? No problem. Guan Ting slapped his chest and waved his strong arms, as if he was preparing to demolish the subway track. I have a strong physique and can hit traps. At the end of the passage is a wide underground simulation hall, with lights simulating an urban night scene. High-rise buildings are projected on the domes, a simulated subway tunnel is on the ground, and the walls are covered with virtual vines and ancient symbols. Professor Zhengwo stood on the central platform, and the tablet in his hand projected a holographic map. The actual battle begins. Each group receives an instrument kit and enters the designated tunnel. Goal: scan 3 spiritual vein clues, avoid the guard mechanism, and converge on the main vein point. 1 hour, blue light marks safety, red light indicates crisis. Remember, this simulation is based on real urban ruins. Once you learn it, you can enter the true secret realm. The candidates were divided into groups, and Zixuan and the other 3 received a silver backpack. It contained an aura detector, an energy shield bracelet, and a pair of glasses to enhance vision. The military group was not far away, and the 2 followers beside him had sneers on their gloomy faces, staring directly at Zixuan, newcomer group. "Huh, Yun Shu, you actually hang out with these bumpkin? Be careful to hold you back." Yun Shu frowned, turned around and said coldly, "June, I've seen too many of your family's tricks. Focus on your mission and don't get in the way." Without further entanglement, she pulled Zixuan and Guan Ting into the assigned tunnel, a narrow passage simulating the underground of Wangfujing. The air was filled with the smell of moist earth, and neon lights and ancient wall remnants were projected on the walls, intertwining into a strange urban wonderland. "Start scanning." Zixuan put on his glasses and started the detector. A waveform diagram popped up on the screen, a blue line meandering, representing weak spiritual veins. The first clue is 50 meters to the left, with a strength level of 0.5. But there is a hidden aura, and the instrument shows unstable fluctuations. Guan Ting rushed forward excitedly, "Let's go. Brother, let's explore the way." He strode forward, with a surge of spiritual energy in his body. His steps were like wind, but he didn't notice that the ground beneath his feet was shaking slightly. Suddenly, a red light flashed, and the virtual trap was activated. The ground cracked, and simulated stone thorns sprang out, heading straight for the 3 of them. "Be careful." Yun Shu shouted, her bloodline advantage instantly revealed. Her eyes flashed with silver light, and the spiritual energy around her body extended like silk threads, foreboding the crisis. She pulled Zixuan's arm and activated the bracelet shield at the same time. The blue barrier blocked the stone thorns and buzzed. Guan Ting reacted, his blood boiled, but he didn't retreat. "Damn, this is what this thing is?" He punched the stone thorn, his strong physique exploded, and the fist wind was filled with spiritual energy, and the projection was shattered. The crisis was resolved, but he himself was pushed down by the force of the earthquake. He fell to the ground and got up, laughing loudly. "This trap is too childish, but I managed to resolve it handsomely, right?" Zixuan helped him up and felt nervous. Guan Ting was so impulsive that his entire army was almost wiped out. But thanks to him, the stone thorn shattered, revealing a hidden passage. You hot-blooded man, listen to orders next time. Yun Shu, thank you, your blood sense is really accurate. Yun Shu put away the silver light, raised the corners of his mouth slightly, and showed a rare smile. Bloodline is naturally sharp and can capture subtle changes in spiritual energy. The family over there in the army relies on this advantage to support the situation. What about you? Is the hidden aura you mentioned just now intuition? Zixuan nodded, adjusted the instrument and continued scanning. It feels like the jade pendant. The instrument shows unstable fluctuations. I guess it is a false pulse. Try going around to the right. He led the way forward, and his glasses projected a virtual path. The tunnel was curved, like an old alley in Beijing, and the ancient symbols on the wall flashed, see Shirling Yong. An inner flash occurred. This is not just an exam, it is a real urban secret. Under the tall building, spiritual veins were like dragons, and mortals lived by chance. He began to question himself, why could he touch the edge? The three of them cooperated tacitly and advanced to the second clue point, the remains of a simulated underground shopping mall, with stalls and neon lights projected, and the air was full of aura. Zixuan raised the detector and scanned the corner of the wall. There is a gathering of breath here, and the intensity has risen to level 1.2. But the instrument is stuck and shows interference waves. Let me do it. Yun Shu stepped forward and pressed her palms against the wall. Her blood penetrated like tentacles, and the silver light traveled along the runes. It's a protective mechanism, disguised as commercial noise. Unlocked, the spiritual veins point to the southeast and merge into the main trunk. Guan Ting wiped his sweat and said excitedly, Bull. Sister Yun, your bloodline is simply cheating. Zixuan, look over there, the red light is flashing. He pointed to the back, and Jun's team actually followed. The instrument in Jun's hand buzzed, deliberately amplifying the spiritual energy waves to create interference. Oh. The new team is stuck. Do you need guidance from a noble family? Yun Shu, don't waste your talents on these mortals. A slight conflict broke out, and Guan Ting became angry. Who are you? Get away, the ghost is still here. He took a step forward, and his physical and spiritual energy was released, and the air was distorted. Zixuan grabbed him and whispered, don't be fooled, this is his trick to distract us. Yun Shu sneered, Jun, your jealousy is written on your face. Zixuan's intuition is much more accurate than your instruments. Let's go on. As he advanced, Zixuan's intuition came to the rescue again. Deep in the tunnel, a hidden aura filled the air like mist. The instrument did not respond, but his jade pendant became hot, and a warning flashed in his mind. Stop. There is a magic array ahead, simulating a subway collapse. Go around the upper passage. Guan Ting originally wanted to break through, but after listening to Zixuan's words, he said angrily, okay, you have the final say. I will listen to you, brother, and I won't be impulsive this time. They climbed up the side ladder, avoiding the red light area, and entered the third clue, a small cave sky projection, with spiritual springs surging inside and runes like star maps. Scan the main veins. Zixuan input the data, and the glasses showed the convergence point. The spiritual veins are like the underground river in Beijing, connecting ancient and modern times. Yun Shu assisted in strengthening, Guan Ting guarded the entrance, and the three of them worked together to activate the blue light mark. Mission accomplished, the backpack buzzed and a passing signal came. Professor Jiang Wo's voice sounded from the loudspeaker. The Zixuan group was the first to gather the 3 meridians and performed well. Gather in the rest area, and the other groups will follow. They exited the tunnel, and Guan Ting happily patted Zixuan on the back. Brother, your intuition is amazing. If I had rushed through the phantom formation just now, the whole group would probably be in trouble. Yun Shu nodded and his eyes softened. The teamwork is good. Your potential is not luck. June is watching us, be careful next time. Zixuan smiled, and the doubt in his heart faded. From excitement to adaptation, he felt like he was wandering in the context of the city, groping for his own way. The lights in the rest area were on, and June's eyes in the distance were like rays on his back, but the three of them sat around and shared the instrument data, and their laughter was mixed with greater expectations. The door deep in the passage slowly opened, and blue light poured out like a tide, mixed with the faint outline of ancient symbols, as if the dragon veins were whispering under the old city walls of Beijing. Zixuan and the other three followed the other candidates who passed, walking briskly but with caution. The lights in the rest area had just turned on, and before they had time to take a breath, Professor Zhang Wo's voice came from the front, as stern as the shouts in the alleys of old Beijing, "Don't relax. The preparatory camp is not a resort, this is the training ground of Xiuxian University. Those who passed the preliminary test, congratulations on touching the edge of the spiritual vein, but the test of real swords and guns has just begun. Follow me and receive your first assignment, a map of ancient ruins." At this moment, Professor Zhang Wo came over, holding a projected map in his hand. "Congratulations on passing the first stage of actual combat. But this is just a simulation, the real ruins are deeper in the city. In the next stage, interpret the complete map and prepare to face the real crisis." Deep in the passage, another door slowly opened, and the outline of the ancient talisman was faintly revealed in the blue light. Guan Ting rubbed the back of his head, leaned close to Zixuan and whispered, "Professor's posture, it feels like my father forced me to practice boxing." "Zixuan, what do you think this map is? Isn't it a real antique?" The preparation camp is located deeper underground, like a high-tech antique warehouse. The walls are made of alloy plates, LED light strips are embedded to simulate sunlight, a holographic projector is suspended on the central platform, and the air is filled with a faint scent of sandalwood, mixed with the hum of instruments. The candidates sat in groups, Zixuan and the other three squeezed into a long table. Professor Zhang Wo stood on a high platform, holding a roll of yellowed parchment in his hand. No, it was a projected three-dimensional image, with a metallic luster on the edges. "This is a residual map unearthed from the underground of the Forbidden City, integrated with high-tech restoration. The secret realm of cultivation hidden in the city is hidden in these clues. Your mission, preliminary analysis to find the first entrance to the spiritual vein. Remember, one wrong step and the entire group will be eliminated." Zixuan smiled and patted him on the shoulder. "Don't worry, Guan Ting. We cooperated well in the simulation just now, and it will be the same this time. Yunshu, what do you think?" Yunshu crossed his arms and glanced at the back of the professor in front of him. "Zhang Wo is an authority on spiritual vein detection, and he never shows mercy in his classes. But there is also a big opportunity, interpreting the ruins can lead directly to the inner resources of the university. Let's go, don't let that guy June get the benefit first." The professor's eyes swept over everyone like a broom and stopped at the Zixuan group. "The new group will be the first to pass the simulation and give you 5 minutes to warm up. Others, don't think that you can be lazy because you come from a noble family." He waved his hand and the holographic map unfolded. Ink lines were winding on the parchment, like the courtyard pattern of Beijing, mixed with runes and modern coordinates. Zixuan put on the enhanced glasses just now, the instrument automatically connected, and a data stream popped up on the screen. The aura waveform was integrated with the GPS, pointing to the underground river near Wangfujing. "Look here," Zixuan pointed to a blurry ink mark in the center of the map and whispered, "This is not random graffiti, it is a hidden formation talisman. The instrument shows that the spiritual veins converge from under Chang'an Street, but the entrance is disguised as a subway line. Guan Ting, you have a strong constitution, help me trace the direction of this line, it feels like a dragon's spine." Guan Ting came up, gestured in the air with his thick fingers, and said with enthusiasm, "Haha, I understand. Isn't this the feng shui dragon vein of old Beijing? From the Forbidden City to Tiananmen, there is a river of spiritual energy hidden underneath. Look at this curve, it seems like going from Dongdan to Wangfujing, and the entrance must be under the shopping mall. Try to use your detector to focus on this point, Zixuan." Zixuan nodded, and the low-key hesitation in his heart gradually turned into confidence. It turns out that the team is not a burden, but a magnifying glass. He put the jade pendant close to the map, the instrument buzzed, high-tech algorithms collided with ancient runes, and an original twist exploded on the screen. A hidden virtual light path emerged, not a straight line of spiritual veins, but a spiritual network, integrated with the modern subway network. The runes of the ancient ruins actually overlapped with the tracks of the Beijing subway, like a dragon's veins borrowing the iron veins of a mortal to revive. It's done. The first puzzle is solved. The entrance is not a single point, but dynamic. The spiritual veins pulse with the operation of the subway, and will converge at Wangfujing Station at every hour. Professor Zhang Wo, was a GPS module added to this picture when it was restored? The fusion of ancient and modern times is so clever. Yun Shu came closer, her silver eyes flickering, and the bloodline induction extended to the hologram like a thread. Not only feng shui, this rune has bloodline marks. In my family inheritance, similar patterns require special bloodline activation. Zixuan, your jade pendant was heating up in the simulation just now, try to get closer. She rarely shared knowledge, but her voice was cold, but it contained a hint of gentleness. Bloodline is not omnipotent, but it can capture the pulse of ancient ruins. The military family relies on this, but they ignore intuition. Your mortal wit is often more accurate. Professor Zhang Wo approached, a hint of approval flashed across his stern face. Boy, you have good vision. This is our university's patented technology. The ancient sheepskin has been scanned by AI and has filled in the gaps. The secret of urban cultivation is hidden at the intersection of high-rise buildings and railway tracks. Mortals take the subway and live by chance. Your group is ahead of the curve, but don't be complacent. June, it's your turn to demonstrate. June's team was whispering beside him. When he stood up, a sinister smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. Professor, the newcomer group is just lucky. I heard that Zixuan came in after picking up a broken jade pendant. Yun Shu, do you really believe his intuition? The family intelligence showed that there is a trap in this map. The entrance to the spiritual vein was blocked by the military. Oh, no, it was detected by our family. The guardian beast inside is ferocious, and the newcomers will die if they go there. He deliberately raised his voice to spread rumors, and the candidates around him began to whisper, and some looked at him suspiciously. Guan Ting's anger rose and he slapped the table and stood up. June, you are a rat in the gutter. In the simulation just now, you wanted to interfere with us, and now you are making trouble. Brother, I have a weak physique, and the guardian beast is nothing. I smashed it. He pushed his strong body forward, and released his spiritual energy. The air buzzed, as if he was trying to dismantle the preparation camp. Zixuan pulled him and persuaded him in a low voice, Guan Ting, calm down. This is his trick, spreading rumors to distract attention. Professor, we have data to support it. The instrument shows that the entrance safety factor is 80%, and the bloodline has been verified. He turned to Zhang Wo, his voice became much calmer, and he changed from a low-key bystander to a pillar of the team. The army's intelligence may have family bias, but our analysis is based on facts. Let us verify. Yun Shu nodded, and the silver light of his bloodline flashed, strengthening the map projection. Yes. June, your interference technique failed in the simulation, and it is the same this time. My bloodline senses that the clues in the secret realm point to a cave that integrates high technology. There is an automatic defense system in the ancient ruins, like a subway security check, but driven by aura. Zixuan's jade pendant just triggered the hidden layer, proving that the entrance is feasible. Professor Zhang Wo squinted his eyes at June and said sternly, rumors stop with the wise. June, your family's resources are an advantage, but the test is about strength. Team Zixuan, continue to analyze the second puzzle, find out the weaknesses of the guardian agency. Others, learn to be a team player and don't make trouble like street vendors. June's face was livid after being blocked. When he retreated, he muttered to his followers in a low voice, damn it, spread more rumors and let them fight among themselves. Yun Shu, that girl, will win over sooner or later. But Zixuan and the other three were already immersed in the map, and Guan Ting provided physical support and helped busy moving the physical model of the holographic projection. He held up the heavy alloy ball with one hand, simulating the flow of spiritual veins, sweat dripping but smiling boldly. Zixuan, this ball is as heavy as my family's ancestral stone lock. What is the weakness you mentioned? I will break it open for you to see. Zixuan stared at the projection, the jade pendant became hot again, and an inner monologue flashed through his mind. From questioning himself to leading the analysis, it felt like the neon lights in the city at night, gradually brightening. He pointed to an intersection of runes. Here, the guardian mechanism is a fusion of ancient formations and modern sensors. Bloodline knowledge, Yun Shu, can you share how to bypass it? Yun Shu came closer, the fragrant breeze stirred slightly, and she explained, bloodline is like a key, which can simulate the spiritual consciousness of the ancients. Try inputting the waveform of your jade pendant. Oh, it's done. The weakness is the trough of spiritual energy at Cixi. During the peak of the subway, the formation will be loosened by the flow of mortals. If we go in, we can avoid the guardian beast and reach the core of the secret realm. The three of them looked at each other, and their understanding deepened. Guan Ting pumped his fist excitedly. It's so exciting. Under the ground in Beijing, the secret realm of cultivation is like a courtyard hidden deep in the alley, waiting for us to dig up treasures. Zixuan, your brain is simply opened. Professor Jiangwo nodded and scrolled the projection map to the next level. Okay, the first puzzle is passed. Your analysis revealed the clues of cultivation hidden in the city. The spiritual veins are not only antiques, but also live in the modern context. The second phase of the reserve camp is to prepare for field exploration. But remember, the crisis is random. Army, your team is behind, go to make up lessons. At this moment, a red light flashed on the edge of the holographic map to warn. External interference waves were pouring in, and the army's followers secretly activated a small jammer in an attempt to scramble the data. Zixuan was the first to notice and said wittily, Professor, someone is up to something. Yun Shu, lock the source of the bloodline. Guan Ting, block the back door. Guan Ting pounced like a tiger, grabbed the follower, and shouted passionately, You dare to trick us? You said it was ordered by the army. Yun Shu's silver light swept over and confirmed, it's a little trick of the aristocratic family. Zixuan, your induction has saved the day again. Professor Jiangwo's face darkened, and without waiting for Jun's explanation, he ordered, Jun, point deduction warning. Cheating is not allowed in the preparation camp. Team Zixuan, reward an additional instrument, a spiritual vein tracker. Continue, the door to the secret realm has been opened, and the next wave of analysis is related to your destiny in admission. Zixuan held the jade pendant tightly, his self-confidence surged like spiritual energy. The three of them surrounded the map, their laughter mixed with tension. At the end of the passage, the blue light became brighter, the outline of the ancient talisman faintly pointed to the underground of Wangfujing, and the sound of adventurous footsteps gradually sounded. Zixuan and the others packed up their equipment and walked out from behind the alloy door of the reserve camp. The end of the blue light passage seemed to lead to a secret alley in Beijing's night market, and the sound of footsteps echoed on the metal floor. The spiritual pulse tracker was held in Zixuan's hand like a high-tech flashlight, with the pulsating green light on the screen pointing in the direction of Wangfujing. Guan Ting was carrying a heavy detection instrument and was as excited as if he had just won a basketball game. Zixuan, this thing is awesome. It's more accurate than my dad's old mobile phone. Let's go, brother, lead the way. There must be a lot of excitement under the subway station. Yun Shu followed beside him, his silver eyes scanning the LED light strips on the wall of the passage, and his voice was calm but with a bit of interest. Business? Be careful, it's a trap. That guy Jun just got points deducted, so he won't let it go. He has a lot of subordinates from the aristocratic family who specialize in small tricks. She glanced at Zixuan and raised the corner of her mouth slightly. However, with your jade pendant here, the spiritual veins will not slip away easily. Zixuan nodded, and the jade pendant warmed slightly on his chest. He whispered, "Yes, confirm the location first." Professor Jiangwo said that the spiritual energy has gathered at this moment, and we have to rush to the entrance before the peak. Guan Ting, help me calibrate the tracker, your physique can stabilize the fluctuation of the instrument. The three of them quickened their pace, and the entrance of the passage was connected to a secret elevator, which reached the edge of the city on the ground. There are many high-rise buildings, the neon lights of Wangfujing flash like aura, and ordinary tourists crowd the streets, unaware that the secret realm of cultivation is hidden under their feet. They got into an inconspicuous back alley, and Guantang used his physical strength to push open an alloy door disguised as a trash can. Inside was the subway maintenance channel, and the humid air was mixed with the smell of rust and the faint scent of spiritual energy. Zixuan turned on the tracker, and a holographic map popped up on the screen, incorporating the rune lines analyzed in the previous chapter. Look, here, under Chang'an Street, the spiritual veins bypass Dongdan, like the moat of old Beijing, and converge at the old drainage channel of Wangfujing Station. The instrument shows that the location is fixed on the third underground floor, 200 meters away. It's done. Guantang smashed his fist against the wall with a muffled voice. Brother's intuition is right, this place is like the underground maze I played in when I was a child. Yun Shu, where is your blood sense? Is there any shadow of the guardian beast? Yun Shu closed his eyes for a moment, and silver light overflowed from his fingertips, penetrating into the air like threads. There is movement, but not strong. The crisis in the ruins is deeper, and the ancient formation will be activated by the vibration of the subway. Zixuan, take the lead, your spiritual sense is the sharpest. She gave in a rare initiative, and a trace of trust flashed across her cold face, like the warm sun in winter, melting away some of her arrogance. Zixuan took a deep breath, and a short monologue flashed through his mind. From the analysis in the preparatory camp to now on the ground, this pressure is like urban smog, but it allows me to see the road clearly. He nodded, okay, follow me. Behind Guantang Palace, Yun Shu is on guard in the middle. Professor Jiangwo, we are online, requesting remote guidance. Jiangwo's voice came from the earphones, with the stern tone of an old man from Beijing. Boys, listen. I have just finished interpreting the details of the second layer of the map. After the entrance is an underground passage, which combines the feng shui array of the Ming and Qing dynasties and the modern drainage system. The location of the spiritual veins is confirmed, but the crisis is around the corner. A guardian beast, shaped like a stone dragon, will wake up half an hour before the end of the hour. To bypass it, rely on the weakness of the bloodline. Yun Shu, your silver light can simulate the ancient key, seal its veins. Zixuan, don't be brave, use the tracker to guide the flow, and break the obstacle. Understood, Professor. Zixuan responded, taking the lead into the passage. The underground world is as dark as ink, with only the green light from the tracker remaining. The walls are covered with vine-like wires, mixed with the remains of ancient talismans, like a forgotten alley under a high-rise building. The sound of footsteps splashed in the puddle, and Zixuan commanded in a low voice, turn left. The instrument shows that the spiritual pulse waveform is 20% stronger. Yun Shu, sense the front. Yun Shu nodded, and the silver light of his blood extended like a probe. 50 meters ahead, there is an obstacle, not natural, but man-made. The army's men are hiding in the dark. Her voice was cold, but it was reliable, like an undercurrent under the ice, able to counterattack at any time. Guantang growled low and bulged his muscles, coming. Brother's hands are itchy. Zixuan, you take Yun Shu away first, I will stop them. His blood boiled, but he listened to Zixuan's eyes and did not charge recklessly. At the corner of the passage, the lights flickered, and 3 black shadows came out, the army's followers, wearing aura shirts disguised as maintenance workers, holding interference sticks, buzzing like a swarm of bees. The leading guy smiled sinisterly, newcomer group. Master Jun said, don't try to monopolize the spiritual veins. Go back, otherwise don't blame us for being rude. He swung his stick, and the spiritual energy waves rushed towards him like electric arcs. The lights in the passage flashed instantly, and the tracker screen was distorted. Zixuan's heart tightened, and his tenacity was as stable as a jade pendant. Guan Ting, go up. Yun Shu, seal their wave source. Professor, remote support. He led the team and did not flinch. Instead, he used the tracker to lock the interference source. The green light spread out like a net, diffusing part of the arc. The inner monologue lasted only a moment. This is the first direct confrontation. The team believes in me and I cannot fail. Guan Ting pounced like a tiger, his strong physique exploded, smashed a jamming rod with one punch, and shouted, "You little bastard, enough of the dirty tricks. The coward in the army didn't dare to come in person, so he sent you to die." His strong body blocked the two of them, and the wind of the fist was full of spiritual energy, smashing the walls of the passage with rubble. Like Beijing boxers fighting in an alley, his blood was mixed with humor. "Come on, 1-on-3, don't waste time." Yun Shu was not idle. Under her cold appearance, she whipped the silver light at the third follower like a whip, blocking his spiritual energy output. "Bloodline locking, your interference technique is too low level." Her movements were elegant but cruel, and a silver light hit the opponent's shoulder. The guy fell to the ground with a groan, and his shirt smoked. She glanced at Zixuan. "Zixuan, the passage is open. Your tracker has stabilized the spiritual pulse signal, continue moving forward." Zhang Wo's voice rang quickly in the earphones, "Good job. But the crisis is getting worse. The map reveals that there is automatic defense at the entrance to the ruins, and the stone dragon guardian beast is about to awaken. It burrows the underground water veins and sprays spiritual mist, charming the mind. Zixuan, guides with the jade pendant, simulating the weakness of the ancient talisman. Yun Shu, assists with the bloodline. Guan Ting, the physique can withstand the impact. Remember, cooperation is the key, don't let the army's tricks spoil the big event." The followers were beaten by Guan Ting and retreated in panic. The leader retorted, "Master Jun will not let you go. The spiritual vein belongs to the family." But Guan Ting kicked the stick out of his hand and laughed and scolded, "Tell your master to come by yourself next time. Brother is waiting." He came back panting and patted Zixuan on the shoulder. "Brother, the leader is good. These grandsons are just looking for trouble." Zixuan smiled, showing his tenacity under the pressure. "Thank you, Guan Ting. Yun Shu, your help saved the day. Without you, the signal would have been messed up." The team's tacit understanding was as smooth as the spiritual veins. Yun Shu snorted lightly, with warmth flashing in his eyes. "Humph, it's just mutual benefit. Let's go, the spiritual veins are close." They continued to move forward, the passage became wider, and the aura in the air was as rich as the mist in an old tea house. The tracking device buzzed, pointing to a hidden stone door. The runes on the door matched the map. Zixuan touched the jade pendant, heat flowed in, and a blue light bloomed in the crack of the door. But at this moment, a low roar came from behind the stone door, a sign that the guardian beast had awakened. The underground water veins were churning, and the mist was faintly seeping out. Guan Ting clenched his fists. "It's serious. Zixuan, how do you break it?" The silver light of Yunshu's blood enveloped the three of them. "The weakness the professor said is in the crack of the door. I will activate it." Zixuan nodded, his voice as steady as a rock. "Come together. Professor Zhang Wo, confirm the crisis level." In the headset, Zhang Wo said sternly, "Intermediate level, but it will be upgraded with the vibration of the subway. Fast forward, the core of the spiritual vein is inside, the door to the urban secret realm, opening up your path to cultivation." At the end of the passage, the stone door trembled slowly, and the tension of adventure was like the Beijing night wind, blowing into the unknown. The blue light of the stone gate flashed like the neon lights in Beijing's alleys, and with a low roar, it slowly slid open to both sides. The three people in Zixuan exchanged glances. The green light of the spirit pulse tracker cast a long shadow in the crack of the door. The air was filled with an ancient earthy fragrance mixed with the smell of burnt wires, like a hidden corner of the old underground market in Wangfujing. Guan Ting took a step forward, his muscles tense. Open it. It's dark and rumbling inside. Zixuan, how's the signal from the instrument? Don't think that guy Jun is up to something again. Zixuan held the tracker tightly, and the holographic map on the screen rotated, with rune lines intertwined like a Beijing subway map, pointing to the deep passage behind the door. The signal is 30% stronger, and the spiritual vein convergence point is 100 meters ahead. But the map shows that this is the entrance to the maze, a complex spiritual vein array that combines Ming and Qing feng shui and modern drainage networks. Professor Zhang Wo, can you confirm remotely? In the earphones, Zhang Wo's voice was like a storyteller in an old Beijing teahouse, stern but rhythmic. Don't touch the walls after entering. The maze will be deformed by the vibration of the subway, and the spiritual veins are like living rivers. If you take a wrong step, you will get lost. Zixuan, your jade pendant can sense weaknesses. Yun Shu, a bloodline positioning assistant. Guan Ting, a physical stabilization instrument. This is the midpoint test. After passing it, you will touch the core. Yun Shu's silver eyes narrowed slightly, and she stepped in first. Silver light overflowed from her fingertips, exploring the way like silk threads. I'll explore first. Jun's men have just retreated, and the conspiracy is not over yet. The remaining spiritual energy fluctuations of their jamming rods will trigger the mechanism. Her voice was calm, but with a touch of gentleness of tacit team understanding, like a ginkgo leaf falling quietly to the ground in winter. The three of them filed in, the stone door closed behind them, and the world instantly became claustrophobic. The core area of the ruins is like a hidden cave under the city. The towering stone walls are covered with glowing spiritual vines. The blue-green light pulsates, reflecting the LED fragments hidden in the cracks in the wall. The revival of spiritual energy allows the ancient array to merge with modern technology. The muffled sound of the subway can be heard in the distance, shaking the ground slightly. Zixuan turned on the tracker, and the green light swept across the forked road ahead. The entrance of the maze was like a courtyard in an old alley in Beijing, with layers of passages. The aura was filled with mist, making the air sticky like after a summer rain. The signal on the left is weak, but the signal on the right is strong, but there are blind spots on the map. Zixuan whispered, the jade pendant burning hot on his chest. He crouched down, with the instrument probe close to the ground, and a hidden rune popped up on the screen. Wait a minute, there is a hidden line here. It's not a main vein, but a tributary, like the underground shopping street in Wangfujing, which hides secondary spiritual energy gathering points. Guan Ting, help me support the instrument, your physique can suppress the fluctuations. Guan Ting grinned and pressed the tracker with his strong palm. Spiritual energy surged out of his body and stabilized the buzzing screen. No problem, brother. This thing is shaking like my phone when I played basketball last time. Look at me, it's stable. His blood made the instrument steady, and the green light cut through the fog like a laser, revealing a secret side passage. Surprise flashed in Zixuan's eyes, and he only had a moment of inner monologue. This blind spot should have trapped us, but the heat of the jade pendant seemed to awaken something, allowing me to see the way clearly. From a city kid to this point, growth is not overnight, but perseverance at every step. Found it. The side passage leads to the core chakra, bypassing the dead end of the main maze. Zixuan stood up and pointed at the hologram. Yun Shu, can your bloodline be verified? This clue is too hidden, like a trap left by the ancients. The team advanced along the side passage. The passage gradually narrowed. The spiritual energy was as strong as the pu'er fog in an old tea house. Ancient symbols and wires were intertwined on the walls. The vibration of the tall buildings in the distance made the stones tremble slightly. Guan Ting opened the way and smashed a vine obstacle with his fist. This maze is like the hide and seek I played in the Beijing park when I was a child. There are always surprises around the corner. But as soon as he finished speaking, the stone wall in front suddenly bulged, and a guardian mechanism was activated. the spirit-veined stone dragon phantom sprang out, and the mist turned into sharp claws and pounced on the three of them. The vibration of the subway intensified, the mechanism twisted like a living thing, and the blue light claw shadow swept across, tearing the air. Yunshu nodded and closed his eyes for a moment. Silver light burst out from his palms, pouring out like a galaxy and blending into the side wall. Her bloodline was activated, and a phantom appeared in the spiritual mist. An ancient map overlapped with a modern Beijing street map, and the spiritual veins were winding like the Yangtze River. Verification passed. This is a hidden tributary, affected by the revival of spiritual energy, and has just awakened. The Jun family may know, but their instruments are too rough and ignore this. She opened her eyes, rarely smiled, and her cold face softened. Zixuan, your interpretation saved time. Take the side path, the core area is closer. Be careful. Zixuan shouted. The green light of the tracker locked onto Shilong's weak point, but the fog interference caused the instrument to become inaccurate. He took a step back, the heat of the jade pendant poured into his meridians, and there was a dull pain in his chest, like the blood was whispering. Was this a sign of awakening? It wasn't a sudden burst, but a gradual throbbing that made his spiritual consciousness sharper. Guan Ting's blood boiled, his muscles exploded, and he jumped in front. Come on, stone thing. I'll hit you. His physique strengthened, and his punches were like the heavy punches of a Beijing boxer, and he hit the stone dragon's claw shadow. With a bang, gravel flew, and the hot blood dissolved the core of the mechanism. His spiritual energy was injected into the weakness, the stone dragon phantom trembled, and the mist dispersed like fireworks. Ha! This dragon is too brittle, like the candied haws in Wangfujing, it will break as soon as you hit it. Guan Ting gasped and laughed, patting Zixuan on the shoulder. Brother, wherever the instrument points, I will push it. If the team works together, its sharpness can break gold. Yunshu was not idle, inserting the silver blood into the cracks in the stone wall like a key to assist in locating the remaining spiritual veins. The mechanism uses the vibration of the subway, and the blood can lock the source. The positioning is complete, the core chakra is 50 meters away. Her movements were elegant, the silver light illuminated the way forward like a lantern, and her coolness revealed reliability. Guan Ting, your blood is always timely. Zixuan, the jade pendant reacts strongly, your potential is surging. Zixuan nodded and suppressed the throbbing in his chest. The heat flowed like the pulse of the city's spiritual energy reviving, making him feel that his body was resonating with the ruins. Thank you, both of you. Professor Jiangwo, the mechanism is broken, let's enter the core. Jiangwo praised in the earphone, well done. But be careful, the core of the spiritual vein is at a climax, and Jun's conspiracy will escalate. His family has many resources, don't let him do bad things. Before he finished speaking, a bright blue light bloomed at the end of the side passage, and the core area opened up, an underground square, like the secret square under Wangfujing, with a central spiritual vein like a giant dragon entrenched, blue and green light pulsating, reflecting the phantom of the outline of a high-rise building. The revival of spiritual energy allowed ancient ruins to blend with the modern city, and the subway lights in the distance seeped in, like a wonderland under the night view of Beijing. Zixuan and the others stepped in, the tracker buzzed to the extreme, and all the map runes were cleared. It's done. The core of the spiritual vein, this energy. Zixuan murmured, the jade pendant was almost burning. He stretched out his hand to touch the edge of the chakra, and had a short inner monologue, this power is calling me, and the sign of the bloodline is like the clarity after the haze disperses, making me stronger. But at this moment, there was an explosion from the rear passage, Jun's conspiracy escalated, and three stronger black shadows rushed in, led by Jun's cronies, upgraded aura shirts, holding high-level interference formation discs, buzzing like an enlarged version of a bee swarm. Boys, Master Jun's order, the spiritual veins return to the family. Your team, disperse. The leader smiled sinisterly, and with a wave of the array, the spiritual energy exploded like a subway collision, the passage collapsed, and rubble poured down like rain. Damn it! Guan Ting shouted, rushing forward to block the falling rocks, but the blast wave shook the team away. Zixuan was pushed to the edge of the core by the air wave, Yun Shu's silver body rolled to one side, and Guan Ting was pressed under the rubble. Zixuan. Yun Shu. Hold on, I'll smash it open. Guan Ting's voice was muffled, his blood mixed with anxiety. Yun Shu struggled to get up and whipped the silver light at the attacker. You bastard of the army, get out. She blocked one person with a blood seal, but the interference of the formation disc dimmed her silver light. Zixuan, your jade pendant, use it to stabilize the chakra, let's meet up. Zixuan got up, with heat in his chest surging like a tidal wave. The sign of awakening of his bloodline expanded his spiritual consciousness, and he could vaguely see the way out of the collapse. Guan Ting, hold on. Yun Shu, go around from the left. Professor Jiangwo, please support. He held the tracker behind his back, and the green light was like a net to counter the interference, and the jade pendant shined brightly, illuminating the chaos. But the sneak attackers are approaching, and in the midst of spiritual energy, the crisis is pouring like a torrential rain in Beijing. The tension of team separation is tightened, and everyone is looking for each other's shouts in the darkness. The headset was intermittent, and Jiangwo said urgently, boys, don't panic. The core chakra is the key, linking the blood and instruments, the army's trick, test your growth. Zixuan took a deep breath, and the heat flowed through the meridians, and he growled, I won't let you down. The chakra pulsation in front intensified, the sneak attacker's sinister laughter echoed, and the adventurous abyss was like a city night, swallowing everything up. In Zixuan's earphones, Professor Jiangwo's voice was like an intermittent Beijing radio signal, mixed with static noise. Hang on. Jun's cronies are elites from aristocratic families. Their array borrows the underground power grid that has been resurrected with spiritual energy. It has a large interference range, lock it with the jade pendant. Zixuan, you are the key. Zixuan gritted his teeth. The jade pendant on his chest was as hot as a red-hot discus. He rolled to avoid a falling rock, and green light erupted from the tracker, sweeping towards the approaching black figure. Those cronies were approaching with a sinister smile, the array plates buzzed like a subway station siren, and spiritual energy waves surged in like a tide, confusing the blue-green pulses in the core square. Guan Ting. Yun Shu. Location. Zixuan shouted. The signs of spiritual consciousness expansion made him vaguely aware of the throbbing under the gravel. He rushed in the direction of Guan Ting, stepping on the spiritual vein vines, which felt as sticky as the bricks and stones of Beijing alleys after rain. The heat from the jade pendant flowed into his arm along the meridians. He waved his backhand, and the green light blocked the attack of a close associate like a laser net. The guy grunted and took 2 steps back. Boy, do you want to stop us with this broken instrument? Master Jun said that this spiritual vein belongs to a noble family. The 3 of them finally reunited at the edge of the core square. Zixuan grabbed Guan Ting's arm and gasped, don't be impulsive yet. Yun Shu, can your silver light suppress the array? Guan Ting, hold on to the rear, the map shows that this collapse has a weakness, it is a spiritual tributary. The blind spot. He squatted down, the runes on the tracker screen flashed, and the heat of the jade pendant made a secret image appear in his mind. Under the collapsed stones, there was a secret channel of spiritual energy as thin as a hair, like the drainage ditch under the old city of Beijing, connecting to the edge of the square. Only a moment flashed through my mind, from passive dodging to actively finding the way, it felt like the blue sky after the haze cleared, which made me dare to take the lead. On the other side, Yun Shu's silver light was like the moonlight on a winter night, whipping open falling rocks. She rolled over and jumped up, blocking her blood to lock the second attacker. Get away. Your interference will only cause the ruins to bite back. Her voice was cold, but with a hint of urgency, and the silver light protected her as she rolled towards Zixuan. Guan Ting's roar came from the rubble. Brother, I'm here. I can't break it, this stone is as hard as the bricks of the Forbidden City. The spiritual energy in his body exploded, his muscles bulged, and he pushed open a boulder. He crawled out in disgrace, with veins popping out on his fists, and his eyes were red with blood. "You bastard of the army, dare to trick us? Come and challenge us." Guan Ting roared and rushed to the front line. His strong body was like a tank and knocked away a close associate. "Reinforcements? Come on. My physical fitness is not in vain." He smashed his fist into the formation plate, injecting hot blood and spiritual energy, and the formation plate trembled and cracked. The henchman stepped back, his face livid, arrogant. "Guardian beast, wake up." As soon as he finished speaking, the blue light of the core chakra surged, and a huge figure sprang out from the depths of the spiritual veins, the ruin's guardian beast, a stone tiger condensed from spiritual energy, with a body shaped like a beast in Beijing Zoo, with pulsating blue-green vines for hair, and red eyes like LED lights. It roared low and swept its claws across the square. The ground cracked and gravel rained down. The vibration of the subway in the distance made its figure even more ferocious. Yun Shu nodded, and his silver eyes locked on his confidant. "It can be suppressed, but there are many of them. Zixuan, show the way, I will cover." She flicked her fingers, and the silver light spread like silk threads, weaving into a light curtain, blocking the spiritual energy wave of the formation disk. Those fluctuations hit the light curtain and made a sizzling sound, like the iron plate of a barbecue on the street. The leader of the confidant sneered, "Little girl, you have good blood, but it's a pity that you met our family. Master Jun has joined forces, and there are reinforcements outside. This ruins are blocked today." Guardian beast. This is the first attack, awakened by spiritual veins. Zixuan's heart tightened, but the guidance of the jade pendant made him react quickly. He stared at the tracker. The weak point is in the blind spot of the map, sure whose tail is connected to the tributary chakra. If you break it, it can be reversed. He shouted, his voice changed from a restrained whisper to a firm command. The turning point of growth was like spiritual energy pouring into his meridians, making him jump up on his own initiative, locking the tail with green light. "Guan Ting, take it head on. Yun Shu, seal its claws with silver light." Guan Ting laughed, his blood boiling. "Leave it to me, brother. This tiger is like the wild dog I met on the Shikahai coast when I was a child. It will be honest after a beating." With his physique at full strength and his muscles like iron, he hit the stone tiger's front paw head-on. There was a loud bang, and the claws hit his shoulder, tearing open his sleeves, and blood seeped out, but he did not retreat but moved forward, hitting the tiger's head with a heavy punch. "Punch me." The Beijing boy is not afraid of wild beasts. The hot-blooded spiritual energy exploded like gunpowder. Sure who took half a step back, and the vine hair was burnt black. Guan Ting gasped and turned around. "Zixuan, where is the tail? I can withstand it, but this thing is hard." Yun Shu's silver light unfolded like a shield, covering from the flanks. Her bloodline was activated, and the silver light turned into a whip shadow, wrapping around Shu's other claw. "I seal the left claw, Zixuan, is your interpretation accurate?" The spiritual energy of this beast fluctuates like a military force. The array is accelerating. Her movements were smooth, and there was a trace of sweat on her cold face, but her eyes were firm. "The team is here, we won't leave." The silver light whipped, the stone tiger roared, and the claws were locked, creating a gap for Zixuan. The cronies took the opportunity to exert pressure, and the leader waved the array, and the spiritual energy waves came like a swarm of bees. The beasts obeyed the order and tore them apart. Master Jun's aristocratic family forces have blocked the exit. No one can touch this spiritual vein. Behind them, there were more footsteps faintly heard, as if reinforcements from the aristocratic families were arriving. The shadow of the conspiracy was like the mist under the Beijing night, making the air in the square heavy. Zixuan dodged a wave of claw shadows, and the green light of the tracker pointed directly at his tail. "It's right there. The blind spot of the tributary, Guan Ting, make it turn around." His inner monologue was brief. "No more hesitation, this is my way, the team's way." Guan Ting nodded, his blood mixed with loyalty. It's up to you, brother. He deliberately used a weak point to attract Shihu to pounce, and then dodged sideways, and Shihu's tail swept across the ground, exposing his weakness. Zixuan made a quick wit, and the jade pendant glowed brightly. He pierced the tracker probe into the tail vine. Break. The green light rushed in like electric current, and the weak point of the map was activated. Shihu's whole body trembled, and the blue and green pulses flowed backwards, letting out a shrill roar. The beast's body shattered, the vines spread out like fireworks, the guardian beast's first attack was neutralized, the square trembled, and the core of the spiritual veins was temporarily calm. But the crisis was not over, and the cronies were red-eyed. The leader shouted, "Impossible. Master Jun will not let you go, the family has a bigger plan. There is a resurrected ancient formation hidden under this ruins, and the spiritual energy does not stop there." His words were like a hint, revealing the tip of the iceberg of the conspiracy, which made Zixuan's heart tremble. The army is not only for spiritual veins, but also has a deeper secret. Just as his cronies were approaching, a golden light flashed from the entrance of the passage. Professor Jiangwo barged in like an old general, holding a spiritual pulse detection staff, and shouted sternly, "Stop. Exam rules, the family is not allowed to interfere." He smashed the staff to the ground, and the golden light was like the lights of Beijing's Tiananmen Square, suppressing the buzzing of the array. The cronies turned pale and stepped back. "Professor Jiangwo, this is Master Jun's order." Jiangwo snorted, "Get out. Otherwise you will be disqualified." He turned to the three of them, with a hint of approval in his eyes. "Boys, you did a great job. But the guardian beast is just an appetizer, and the core activation is about to happen." Zixuan wiped the sweat from his forehead, and the change from restrained to active made him stand up straighter. "Professor, thank you for coming. The spiritual chakra is stable, but the army's reinforcements." Jiangwo nodded, and pointed the tip of the staff towards the chakra. "Listen up, activation technique, linking blood and instruments. Zixuan, your jade pendant guides the spiritual flow. Yun Shu, the bloodline is positioned and gathered. Guan Ting, the physique suppresses the backlash, like Beijing's feng shui array. Follow the trend." He waved the staff as a demonstration, and the chakra blue light responded. The army's conspiracy is not only about recruiting students, but after activation, be careful, a bigger storm is coming. The blue-green light was like the neon lights on a winter night in Beijing, erupting from the center of the chakra, and spiritual energy poured into the three people's bodies like warm currents. Zixuan felt a numbness in his meridians, and the heat of the jade pendant slowly calmed down, as if whispering, "It's not over yet." Guan Ting gasped and patted his chest. "Wow, this spiritual energy made me feel dizzy as if I had drunk ergotu." Yun Shu's silver eyes flashed slightly, and he loosened his grip on Zixuan's arm. The activation was initially successful, but this pulse is unstable. The last part of the map is hidden deep in the sky. Professor Jiangwo retracted his staff, and the golden light protected the surroundings. "Yes, the core position is at the bottom of the secret realm. Listen to the footsteps, like the rogue cultivators hired by the family, using the aura of the urban power grid to block the passage. Zixuan, take the lead, let's go deep." Zixuan nodded, the fire in his chest that went from restrained to active. He grabbed the tracker tightly. The runes on the screen were like the courtyard pattern of old Beijing, layered on top of each other. "Professor, the last puzzle on the map is two dragons playing with pearls. The spiritual veins are winding like the Great Wall. The core is the bead eye. You have to use instruments and ancient methods to attack it. Yun Shu, your blood can sense the bead position. Guan Ting, protect the instrument, I will unlock it." His voice was much calmer, no longer hesitant whispering, but as natural as a street brother directing a ball game. The sound of footsteps in the distance was like the roar of a subway, mixed with the buzzing of the formations. The leader of Jun's confidants shouted, "Boys, don't waste your efforts. Master Jun's formation has been connected to the ancient ruins formation. This is the territory of the aristocratic family." The team moved forward along the secret passage at the edge of the chakra. The passage was as narrow as an alley in an old alley in Beijing. The vines on the walls were pulsing and the aura mist filled the air, blurring their vision. Zixuan was in front, and the green light of the tracker scanned the front. The jade pendant trembled slightly, faintly awakening a warm current in his body, the omen of blood, like the first ray of sunshine after the haze, quietly penetrated into his spiritual consciousness, allowing him to sense the strange movement behind the wall. Be careful, there is a mechanism on the right. This is an ancient method of protection. The underground water veins revived by spiritual energy will collapse when touched. Guan Ting picked up a loose stone and bulged his muscles. Brother, tell me, where can I hit it? My fist is not afraid of water. His blood was not gone, and his eyes were bright, like a naughty boy on the Xiuxian beach. Guan Ting patted Zixuan on the shoulder, his blood still lingering. Brother, that move you just made was so cool. If the team doesn't break up, we will hit anyone who comes. Yun Shu's silver eyes were soft, and he held Zixuan's arm in a rare gesture. I am convinced by your growth. Continue. Zixuan nodded. The heat of the jade pendant flowed like the pulse of his partner. He stretched out his hand to touch the chakra. Together. The blue-green light surged up, and the spiritual energy poured out like the water of the Yangtze River, but the footsteps in the distant passage were approaching. The pressure of the army was like a torrential rain, and the abyss of adventure was deeper. Yun Shu's silver light flashed, illuminating the end of the dark passage. Look, there, the bead-eye runes on the map. Jun's ambition is not small. He wants to monopolize the source of the spiritual veins, revive the ancient family formations, and connect to the city's power grid system. I heard clearly what the confidant just said. They used high-tech modified arrays and borrowed the aura of the subway lines to forcibly pull the chakra. If the activation fails, this secret realm will backfire and rush to the ground, causing chaos in the Beijing CBD in the mortal area. Her voice was cold with anger, and her proud face showed a rare frown. The army is not recruiting students, he wants the family to monopolize the opportunity. Zixuan's heart tightened, and the warm blood flow surged again, and his spiritual consciousness expanded, allowing him to see clearly the weaknesses of the array, the peak moment of the combination of high-tech instruments and ancient methods. He shouted, Guan Ting, lead them into the blind spot. Yun Shu, silver light sealed wings, Professor, lend me your staff. Zhang Luo threw the detection staff and said sternly, Boy, remember, the ancient method requires blood to lead, high technology to stabilize the frequency. The two dragons play with the beads, just below the bead eye, crack the guardian formation, get the instrument frequency lock, the ancient jade backlash. Zixuan took the staff, the jade pendant connected with the tip of the staff, green light and golden light intertwined, like the collision of laser and lantern, sweeping towards the bead eye rune. A puzzle unfolds on the screen. Two spiritual veins are like dragons, coiled around a bead, and need to be positioned accurately. The reinforcements were approaching, and the spiritual energy wave hit Guan Ting's shield. An old injury on his shoulder cracked open, and his sleeves were stained with blood, but he laughed, Come on. Beijing men are not afraid of electric shocks. He dodged sideways, causing a casual cultivator to stumble, and the array plate hit the ground, sparks bursting out. Yun Shu's silver light danced like the shadow of a whip, entangling the two reinforcements. I have noticed Jun's motive. He is jealous of Zixuan's talent and wants to use the ancient formation to control the spiritual energy recovery. The family monopolizes the resources for cultivating immortals, leaving mortals forever at a loss. Look at this array disk, embedded with chips, connect to the subway signal and forcefully pull the spiritual veins. If you succeed, the skyscrapers in the CBD will explode with spiritual energy, and the two worlds will directly collide. She whipped a formation disk away, and locked eyes with her confidant. Tell June, if you are too ambitious, it will backfire on you. The henchman's face was ashen, and he waved the main array plate. Shut up. Do you understand Master June's plan? Protective formation, start. The lower level of the pearl eye roared, and the ancient magic formation was activated. A light curtain rose like the Great Wall, runes flashed, and spiritual energy swirled like a tornado, mixed with high-tech interference. The vibration of the subway came, and the formation borrowed the force, the ground cracked, and the secret water veins spurted out. The original crisis broke out, chaos intertwined among mortal cultivators, underground pipes collided with spiritual veins, and arc-spiritual mist erupted. The mist spread like a sandstorm in Beijing, corroding instruments. The screen of Zixuan's tracker flashed. No, this is a conflict between two worlds. The mixing of water and electricity spiritual energy will detonate the entire secret realm. Zixuan's leadership was fully activated, and the blood omen made his spiritual consciousness as accurate as radar. Hold. The instrument is locked to the frequency. Guan Ting, smash the tributary of the water pipe. Yun Shu, the blood is suppressing the fog. He jumped on the light screen. The jade pendant pierced the runes, the golden and green light lit up the two dragons like a torch, and the tip of the staff injected the ancient mantra, dragon plays with beads, and returns with the flow. The formation trembled, high-tech interference was blocked by the ancient jade, and the aura dragon shape slowly gathered in the beady eyes. Guan Ting rushed into the fog with a roar, smashed the water pipe with a punch, and arcs flew everywhere. He protected Yun Shu. Sister, back off. This fog is like a chemical experiment, scalding. His blood allowed him to withstand corrosion, and his loyal eyes glanced at Zixuan. Brother, come on. The team is here, you can do it. As soon as he finished speaking, a conflict broke out at the entrance of the passage. The army's reinforcements poured in like a tide. A dozen casual cultivators were holding modified formation discs. The spiritual energy waves rushed like high-voltage current. The leading confidant smiled sinisterly. Miss Yun, join us. Young Master Jun appreciates your blood. The family has many resources. Unlike these two mortal boys, they are not worthy. Go. Guan Ting roared and stood in front of the team. Whether you are worthy or not, I have the final say. Get away, you guys who are using the power grid to trick you. He hit the front line with his strong body and smashed the array with one punch, and the hot-blooded aura protected the back. Zixuan, solve your puzzle. The all-out confrontation was on the rise, and the army's voice came from the far end of the passage, as gloomy as the night. Zixuan, you ruined my plan. How can I allow you to get involved in the ancient family formation? The reinforcements regrouped, the arrayed discs roared in unison, and the spiritual energy waves poured down like a torrential rain, hitting the light curtain and causing sparks to fly. Guan Ting panted and escorted the team. Here it comes. Brother, have you got the beads? Zixuan grabbed the spirit beads, heat flowed into the meridians, and blood signs broke out. He shouted, hold on. But the crisis is not over yet, the fog in the two realms is still expanding, the army's power grid is pulling, and the secret realm is about to collapse. The founding staff waved, and the golden light suppressed. Boys, retreat to the depths. The core is activated, and the source needs to be stabilized. Yun Shu weaved a net of silver light to seal the spread of fog. The army's reinforcements have retreated, they are afraid of backlash. But he himself is coming soon, and this ambition will ruin the fairness of the admissions examination. She turned to Zixuan. Your leadership gives me hope. Bloodline awakening, come on, don't hide it. Zixuan felt the warm current in his body like a river bursting its banks. The faint omen of awakening made him move faster, and he took the last step of cracking the formation. The bead's eyes lit up, and the core position of the spiritual vein was confirmed, a fist-sized spiritual bead, floating in the depths, pulsing like a heart. As the team goes deeper, the light of the spiritual pearl illuminates the underlying secret realm, and ancient murals on the wall emerge like flying sky from Dunhuang, revealing even greater secrets. But the army's footsteps were approaching like thunder, and conflicts were ignited like a powder keg. Zixuan's growth shone in the crisis. He turned to his partners and said, keep it together. This bead is our opportunity. Guan Ting nodded. Yun Shu's silver eyes were firm, and in the mist of spiritual energy, the adventure reached its peak. The pulse of the spirit beads is like the bells of Beijing's drum tower, low and rapid, illuminating every crack in the underlying secret realm. The dragon shadow on the ancient mural seems to have come to life, entwined with hidden runes, revealing an ominous warning. Zixuan held the spirit bead tightly, and heat flowed down his palm into his meridians, making the warmth in his body light up like the lanterns of the Forbidden City. He turned around and whispered to his friends, "The beads are stable, but this place. I feel like something is staring at us. Professor, look at those murals, the totem of the guardian beasts, the two dragons playing with the beads, there is always a guardian at the end." Professor Jiangwo squinted at the mural, tapped the tip of his staff on the ground, and the golden light swept across like a searchlight. The boy is right. This is the ultimate defense line of the ancient ruins. After the spiritual veins are revived, the guardian beast will be reborn with the power of the earth veins. It is not an ordinary spiritual beast, it is integrated with the urban power grid. The monster of spiritual energy, the entanglement of high technology and ancient methods, doubles the power. The first step to activate the spiritual vein is to suppress it. Zixuan, use the jade pendant to guide the frequency of the spiritual beads, and I will stabilize the formation. Guan Ting, hold the front. Yun Shu, your blood can resonate and help increase it. Before he finished speaking, there was a roar deep in the secret realm, and the ground shook like a subway entering a station. The light of the spirit bead suddenly dimmed, and a black shadow emerged from behind the mural. The guardian beast appeared. It looks like a giant python, but has arched tentacles like dragon scales. Its body is several feet long, and its eyes flash like red lights. Using the pulse of the underground power grid, its tail throws out high-voltage spiritual energy waves, mixed with sparks. The air was filled with a burnt smell, like a short-circuited wire after a summer rainstorm in Beijing. The beast roared like thunder, "Intruder, spiritual vein, guard." The sound was mechanical and mixed with ancient language, which was obviously a deformed fusion of ancient magic and high technology. Guan Ting wiped the sweat from his forehead. The blood on his shoulders was still oozing, but he grinned, "Just push it. Brother, if this guardian beast comes out, I will give it a Beijing roast duck-style welcome first." He put up a posture, his muscles were as tense as an iron tower, and his blood made him not feel tired at all. Yun Shu locked her silver eyes on the spirit bead and nodded lightly, "My bloodline can sense its weakness. Zixuan, hold my hand tightly and resonate, just like the Lantern Festival in Shikahai, borrowing light and strength." She stretched out her hand, and the silver light in her palm shone slightly, echoing Zixuan's jade pendant. "Spread out." Zixuan yelled, instinctively jumping to dodge. The first tentacle whipped out like a whip, smashing the stone wall next to it, and the rubble flew like fireworks on the street. His heart tightened, and the warm blood flow rushed to his limbs like a bursting Yangtze River, causing his spiritual consciousness to expand instantly. He saw clearly the weaknesses of the beast's body, and the nodes of the power grid under the scales were like the cable hubs of high-rise buildings in the CBD. Guan Ting, smash its left tentacle. That's the core of the power grid. Cut off its strength. Guan Ting roared, rushed to the front line, and carried it like a street gangster protecting his brother. He wrapped his fists with aura shields, jumped up, and hit the tentacles. "Take me with an iron fist." This man from Beijing specializes in treating arc monsters. The fist hit the scales, making a metallic sound, the tentacles twitched, and the arc backfired, leaving his arms blackened, but he braced his teeth and said, "Brother, it's done. It's a little slow, but this thing's rebound is so strong that it burns me like boiled mutton." He took a step back, panting to protect Zixuan, his loyal eyes like iron. "You unlock the bead, I will share the pressure and never let it get close." The guardian beast roared, and another tentacle swept towards Yun Shu. She flashed silver light, and the power of her bloodline danced like a whip shadow, wrapping around the tentacle. June's conspiracy. There are remnants of the formation disk on this beast, a high-tech modified guardian. He wants to use it to seal off the spiritual veins and let the aristocratic family monopolize it. She took Zixuan's hand, and the resonance was activated. Zixuan felt the power pouring in, and the blood signs were like sunlight dispersing from the haze, illuminating the hidden veins in his body. Yun Shu, thank you. This resonance makes me feel that my meridians are burning. The battle intensified in an instant, the guardian beast's tentacles danced wildly, and the spiritual energy waves poured down like a rainstorm, hitting Guan Ting's shield. The old injury on his shoulder was even more cracked, and the ground was stained with blood, but he laughed, "Come on, Arc Monster. My physique is designed to defeat you who borrow electricity." He dodged sideways, causing the tentacles to hit the stone wall, and the debris flew like a sandstorm, sharing Zixuan's pressure. Yun Shu's silver light weaved into a web, sealing the flanks of the beast's body. "Zixuan, your leadership convinces me. The resonance of your bloodline will enhance your awakening, do you feel it? Like the beacon fire on the Great Wall, connected into one." Her cold face was rarely red, and her arrogance revealed trust. Zixuan jumped on the beast's back, the jade pendant pierced the nodes under the scales, and the light of the spiritual beads was injected like a laser. The guardian beast twisted in severe pain, swept its tail, and took it straight to his chest. It was a matter of life and death. The tentacles wrapped around his waist like high-voltage cables, and arcs of electricity shot into his meridians, causing pain like fire and making his vision go black. The warm current in the body bursts, and the blood awakens and explodes. The hidden spiritual power gushes out like the underground Yangtze River, the meridians are reshaped, and the spiritual consciousness expands 100 times like a radar. He felt the whispers of his ancestors, and the ancient lineage was awakening in the neon lights of the city, not a sudden burst, but like a slow stew in Beijing's alleys, gradually boiling. "Ah!" Zixuan growled, and the power of blood turned into green light, erupting from the jade pendant and backfired on the tentacles. The electric arc flowed back and the scales of the guardian beast shattered. He held the spirit bead with his backhand and blurted out the ancient mantra. The bead returns to the dragon's lair, and the pulse opens to the sky. Green light and golden light intertwined, and the frequency of the tip of the staff locked onto the weakness of the power grid. The beast's body stiffened, and the high-tech nodes that relied on it collapsed. Guan Ting was overjoyed when he saw this. He rushed to finish off the attack and smashed Kanchu with one punch. "Brother, Nyo. This awakening is so cool, all the pressure on me has been relieved." He panted and supported Zixuan. The brotherhood was as strong as iron. The golden light on the tip of Professor Jiangwo's staff shines brightly, pouring into the array eyes around the spirit bead. "Boys, listen to me. The initial steps for activation, jade pendant locks the frequency, the ancient saying is, the beads return to the dragon's cave, the pulse opens along the sky. Use the staff to interfere with high-tech interference, don't let the electricity the net pulls. Guan Ting, lead it into the blind spot. Yun Shu, the silver light seals its retreat. Zixuan, the bloodline is awakening at this moment, don't hesitate, release your potential." His voice was stern but encouraging, as precise as an old professor teaching a student's paper. Yun Shu's silver light merged into Zixuan's bloodline, and the resonance made the awakening more stable. "Your potential is beyond imagination. Jun's plan is ruined." The guardian beast wailed, disintegrated into a spiritual mist, and retreated into the depths of the mural. The secret realm trembles, the spiritual veins are initially activated, and the pulse is as steady as a heartbeat. The green light spreads along the earth veins, illuminating the larger ancient formation map, the tip of the iceberg of the family's conspiracy. Jun's formation disk fragments are scattered, showing that he wants to connect to the entire Beijing power grid, control the spiritual energy recovery, unbalance the two worlds of mortal cultivation, and the family monopolizes opportunities. Professor Jiangwo waved his staff, and the golden light sealed the entrance. "Jun, your ambition will be investigated by the examination committee. Boys, the spiritual veins are stable, but his reinforcements are still there. Withdraw towards the exit, retreating and guarding. Zixuan, your rise has made this secret realm bright." Zixuan stood firm, the power of his blood made his eyes firm, and the transformation from restrained to active was like the rising sun. He nodded and held the spirit bead tightly. "Professor, thank you for your guidance. Guan Ting, Yun Shu, let's work together, don't let him take this opportunity. Guan Ting patted him on the shoulder, let's go. Brother, I can fight again. Yun Shu's silver eyes flashed, the army's conspiracy has just emerged. Keep moving forward. In the distance, the army's footsteps were approaching. He personally rushed in with the remaining reinforcements, his face ashen, impossible. Zixuan, you mortal boy, bloodline awakening. How could my ancient formation? His voice was gloomy, revealing his ambition. Not only was he jealous of Zixuan's talent, but he also planned to use the source of the spiritual veins to revive the old power of the family, hinder the fairness of the admissions examination, and even cause chaos in the city. The confidant said in a panic, Master, the guardian beast has been defeated. The power grid connection is broken, and the backlash is coming, the CBD instruments are all in chaos. The team retreated, the roar of the army echoed in the spiritual mist, the aftermath of the conflict lingered, and the flames of adventure burned even brighter. Yun Shu's silver eyes scanned the surroundings, and his bloodline senses spread like radar. He caught up with him in person, bringing 3 masters from aristocratic families. The fragments of the array are still running, trying to cut off our retreat. Her voice was calm, but with a rare hint of urgency, and her arrogant face softened a bit in the fog. The golden light on the tip of Professor Jiangwo's staff flashed, sealing the passage behind him. Boys, the exit is 50 meters ahead, and the ancient formation will guide you. But Jun's ambitions don't stop there. He wants to use the power grid to control spiritual veins, trigger a rampage of urban spiritual energy, and make the admissions exam his stepping stone. Zixuan, the awakening of your bloodline is the key, activate the last step. The team retreated quickly in the mist of spiritual energy, and their footsteps made a crisp sound on the gravel, like the echo of the stone road in Beijing's alleys at night. Zixuan held the spirit bead tightly, and the newly awakened blood power in his body was like a warm current, traveling along the meridians, making his steps steady. He was no longer the low-key urban boy, but faintly revealed the aura of a leader. Guan Ting was breathing heavily, and the wound on his shoulder was still dripping with blood, but while protecting his rear, he whispered, Brother, in this fog, the reinforcements from that guy Jun must be ambushing me. My physique can still withstand it. You should concentrate on stabilizing the spirit bead, don't let it backfire. Zixuan's heart tightened, the pulse of the spirit bead accelerated, and he felt the green light surging in his body like the water veins of the Yangtze River. The spiritual mist after the guardian beast disintegrated merged into the bead, triggering a deeper mechanism. The ancient formation diagram lit up, the green light spread along the earth veins, and the spiritual veins were truly activated. In an instant, ancient inheritance poured in like a flood, the ancestors' experience in cultivating immortals, urban spiritual pulse manipulation techniques, and high-tech spiritual consciousness expansion methods were all injected into his meridians. The pain was like fire, but he gritted his teeth and endured it. His inner monologue only flashed for a moment, this power didn't fall from the sky, it came from his will. A distant roar approached, and Jun's voice echoed like a ghost, Zixuan. You ruined my plan, so what if the bloodline is awakened? The resources of the family are not something that a mortal like you can touch. 3 figures sprang out, carrying arrows with spiritual energy and shooting directly at the backs of the team. Guan Ting yelled and turned around to block, want to chase. Get through this first. He waved his arms, and the power of his body turned into a shield, blocking the arrows. The aftermath shocked him 2 steps back, but he laughed and cursed, Jun, you are a young master from a noble family, your jealousy is as heavy as the smog in Beijing. Brothers, come on. Yun Shu held Zixuan's other hand, the silver light intertwined with the green light, and the resonance made her blood tremble slightly. Your inheritance makes me feel the echo of the bloodline. Zixuan, from watching with cold eyes to now, I admit that you, a low-key boy, have the spirit to refuse to admit defeat. Her voice was rare and soft, and there was a hint of emotional change in her arrogant eyes, like the lake in Shikahai ripples under the moonlight. Professor Jiangwo nodded, and the golden light of his staff combined with the green light. What a boy, you are extremely talented. This inheritance is the legacy of the guardians of the ancient spiritual veins, integrated with the veins of modern spiritual energy recovery. Behind the admissions examination, the purpose of a university is not to simply screen out geniuses, but to deal with the spiritual energy runaway. If the secret realm hidden in the city gets out of control, Beijing's power grid will collapse and mortal society will be in turmoil. Your awakening proves that we have chosen the right person. The army's reinforcements rushed forward, and the three of them worked together to release the formation disk. The aura of the power grid came like a high-voltage mesh cover, trying to block the exit. Zixuan's spiritual consciousness expanded, and his weak points were identified like a radar lock. Their formation disk is connected to the hub of the CBD, and the middle node is cut off. The green light he shared made the team's speed increase dramatically. Guan Ting rushed out first and punched the leading expert, "Eat me with an enhanced iron fist." The wind of the fist was wrapped in green light, smashing the formation disk, and the arc backlash made the opponent scream and retreat. The aftermath of the crisis broke out. The collapse of the array disk caused a short circuit in the underground power grid, the walls of the secret realm cracked, gravel poured down like heavy rain, and the ground shook like a subway malfunction. "Be careful of the aftermath," Guan Ting shouted. After his physical strength strengthened, he held a huge boulder to protect Yun Shu and the professor. "Brother, come and resolve it. This thing will fall down like a sandstorm in Beijing, but with my green light, brother, be steady." He pushed with both hands, and his spiritual energy exploded, bouncing away the gravel, resolving the crisis of collapse, and his reliable brotherhood showed in his blood. Zixuan took the opportunity to guide the spirit bead, injecting green light into the earth's veins, stabilizing the tremors. There is a secret in the inheritance. The pulse flows along the power grid, the fog dissipates and the sky opens. The fog dissipated and the exit appeared, but an original twist suddenly appeared. The influence of the revival of the spiritual veins spread to the city. There was a muffled sound in the distance. The Beijing subway system was slightly out of order. The lights of high-rise buildings in the CBD were flashing, and the neon lights on the streets were pulsing like spiritual energy. Mortal society is vaguely aware of changes, and sudden power fluctuations pop up on the news feed. "Inheritance, fused," Zixuan murmured, and green light burst out from his palm, illuminating the mist. He turned to the team and said, "Professor, the spiritual pulse is stable. This inheritance has the secret of ancient methods to guide the urban power grid. I can share part of it to increase your spiritual energy frequency." Guan Ting, hold on first. Yun Shu, resonate. He stretched out his hand, green light extended like silk threads, injected into Guan Ting's shield, instantly strengthening the iron tower-like physique and doubling the speed of wound healing. Guan Ting felt the power pouring in, and his eyes lit up. "Huh, brother, this green ox. Brother's fist seems to be equipped with a rocket thruster now. June, come here." Professor Jiangwo waved his staff, and the golden light suppressed the black light. "That's enough, June. The examination committee has monitored everything, and your power grid plan will be thoroughly investigated. The real purpose of the university is to balance the two worlds of mortal cultivation and prevent the spiritual energy from resurrecting and causing disaster. Zixuan, your tenacious will proves that ordinary young people can also protect this balance." June snorted, and the reinforcements retreated, and his figure disappeared into the mist. "This is not over. You can't bear the impact of the resurgence of the spiritual veins." The team finally broke out of the secret realm. The sun was dazzling, and the noise on the streets of Beijing came like a tide, but the underground pulse was faintly transmitted, indicating a bigger storm. June jumped out in person, his face twisted. "Zixuan, you activated your spiritual veins, but you caused chaos in the city. The family will say you are the culprit." A black light flashed from his palm, and the family's secret technique went straight to Zixuan's heart. Zixuan's eyes were firm, and his will was as unwavering as the masonry of the Great Wall. He blocked it with a green shield. "Your ambition is the source of chaos. Enrollment is fair, and it is not a game you monopolize." Guan Ting added, kicking Feijuan's henchman, "Young master, get out of here. Egg. Brother's strengthening fist is waiting for you. Yun Shu drew his silver whip and blocked Jun's retreat. Jun, from now on, your conspiracy is exposed, and I see hope, not the blood of the family, but the will. Zixuan took a breath and stood firm. The integration of inheritance made his growth from introverted to active become as clear as the rising sun. He turned to his companions and said, "Let's use this power together. Guan Ting, thank you for your support. Yun Shu, your resonance has saved me. Professor, I'm here to guide you. The secret realm of the city has just begun." Guan Ting patted him on the back. "Brother, follow me anytime." Yun Shu smiled slightly. "Yes, together." Zhang Wo nodded. "Go back to the university and report everything. A bigger conspiracy is waiting to be revealed." The neon lights on the streets of Beijing flashed like spiritual energy. Zixuan and his group squeezed into a low-key black SUV. Professor Zhang Wo held the steering wheel, and the car quickly merged into the traffic flow of the CBD. Zixuan leaned on the back seat. The spirit beads were still slightly hot in his palms, and the inherited green light was like a hidden electric current, flowing through his body, making him as sensitive to the surrounding spiritual energy as if he had an extra pair of eyes. Guan Ting rubbed his newly healed shoulders and grinned. "Brother, after this trip to the secret realm, I feel that the air in Beijing is a little sweeter. The power grid just short-circuited. The news said it was a sudden failure, but mortals are still complaining. That boy Jun must be so angry that his teeth are itching." Yun Shu sat next to Zixuan, his silver eyes staring at the lights of the high-rise buildings outside the window, his voice calm but with a hint of exhaustion. "He won't just give up. After the activation of the spiritual veins, the plans of the military family were disrupted, but their ambitions are deep-rooted. My bloodline senses that there are still residual array signals under the CBD, like a spider web, connected to the entire city's power grid." She turned to look at Zixuan, touched his sleeve with her fingers, and said with a rare initiative, "Your inheritance has been a great help. When I resonated just now, I felt that the source of the black light in the military family was not only jealous of you, but also wanted to use their spiritual energy to go on a rampage and force the university to make concessions so that they could monopolize enrollment qualifications and resources." Professor Zhang Wo glanced from the rearview mirror, and a hint of approval flashed across his serious face. "Yun Shu is right. Boys, Jun is not alone. His family is an old fox in the circle of cultivators. They keep a low profile on the surface, but secretly control the development rights of half of the urban ruins. The full picture of their conspiracy is this: use a modified power grid to absorb the essence of spiritual veins, causing a controllable leak of spiritual energy, causing the mortal society to fall into chaos, and then the aristocratic family came forward to save it in exchange for the absolute right to speak in the university. The admissions examination is supposed to be a bridge between the two worlds, but they want to turn it into their own back garden. Zixuan, your bloodline awakening and inheritance activation have broken their foundation. Now, we have to go back to the university quickly and join hands with the committee to give them a fatal blow." On the streets, people were walking around without knowing it, but Zixuan's spiritual sense sensed that the green light of his spiritual veins had quietly integrated into the power grid. Opportunities and crises coexisted, and the road to adventure was endless. The car turned into the secret entrance of Xiuxian University, a light curtain opened quietly like the red wall of the Forbidden City in Beijing, and the SUV slid into the campus underground parking lot. The air is filled with a faint spiritual mist, mixed with the hum of high-tech instruments, making the campus look like a fantasy fortress hidden in the city. When Zixuan got out of the car, he felt that the inherited spiritual consciousness was expanding like a radar and sweeping across the entire campus, catching several powerful auras. The university's senior tutors had gathered and were waiting for reports. He took a deep breath, and only a moment flashed through his mind. From that low-key city boy to now leading all of this, the fire of will finally burned into a raging flame. They went straight to the conference hall. Under the lights, a group of professors and student elites gathered around the holographic projection table. A map of Beijing flashed on the projection, with red dots marking the spiritual nodes. As soon as Jiang Wo entered the door, he loudly said, "Committee members, the situation is urgent. The Jun family has mobilized reinforcements to try to control the power grid of the CBD hub, causing the spiritual energy to go wild. Zixuan and the others have activated the spiritual veins of the ancient ruins, and the inheritance has been integrated, but the aftermath is affecting the city, subway delays, high-rise buildings without power. This is their test." A white-haired professor stood up, his eyes as sharp as swords. "Jiang Wo, you have done a good job with these newcomers. We have already monitored Jun's plan. He wants to use the black light secret technique to pollute the spiritual veins, make the university's detection equipment ineffective, and screen out the geniuses who are only loyal to the family. But now, Zixuan's green light inheritance is the key. Boy, share your spiritual vein manipulation technique, and we will join forces to counterattack." Zixuan nodded, and a green light lit up in his palm, pouring into the projection table like the veins of the Yangtze River. On the map, green light spreads along the power grid lines, identifying hidden array disk weaknesses. He whispered, "Professors, this inheritance has ancient secrets that can make the spiritual energy resonate with the power grid, so that it will not go crazy, but strengthen the balance. The army's ambition is in the core tower of the CBD, where their main hub is. We have to carry it out. Guan Ting, you are on the front line. Yun Shu, block the retreat. I will lead the green light to guide." Guan Ting smashed his fist into his palm, and his blood surged. "No problem. After my brother's physique has been strengthened, he just went to destroy the place. If that guy Jun dares to play dirty, let him taste the hard fists in Beijing's alleys." Yun Shu's silver eyes flashed, and his cold face revealing determination. "My blood can sense the trajectory of the black light and prevent them from slipping away. Zixuan, this time, let's keep this balance together." There was a touch of gentle determination in her words, like the ice of Shikahai melting in the spring breeze. The team quickly dispatched, and the university's shuttle flew across the night sky like an invisible helicopter and headed straight for the CBD. The tower is brightly lit. On the surface it is a mortal corporate building, but underneath it is the entrance to the secret realm of a military family. Zixuan's spiritual sense swept through and caught Jun's aura. He is on the top floor with 5 masters from aristocratic families. The black light has been activated and the power grid has begun to pulsate unsteadily. The shuttle landed and they sneaked into the hull. Guan Ting took the lead. The power of his body turned into an invisible shield to block the hidden aura trap. "Come on, Jun's bastards. I'm here to walk you." The elevator door opened, and the guards of the military family rushed out, with black light darting out like poisonous snakes. Yun Shu's silver light flashed, and the whip shadow weaved a net to seal the passage. "You want to cut off our escape? There is no way." Her movements were calm and precise, and each whip targeted the weak point, causing the guard's array to shatter. Zixuan's green light extended, infusing Guan Ting and Yun Shu, strengthening their spiritual energy frequency. The expansion method in the inheritance allows your attacks to hit the source directly. "Guan Ting, go." Guan Ting laughed loudly and hit the leading guard with his strengthened iron fist. "Take this one." The wind of the fist was wrapped in green light and smashed the black shield. The aftermath shattered the glass in the hall, like the neon lights in Beijing disintegrating at night. Jun's voice echoed from upstairs. "Zixuan. You clowns, how can you shake the family's resources? After the spiritual veins are gone, the university will beg us." He jumped down the stairs, and the black light turned into a grid cover, trying to swallow the green light. Zixuan's eyes were firm, and his inheritance experience came out like a tide. He murmured the ancient mantra, the pulse flows along the power grid, and the fog disperses and the sky opens. Green light burst out, rushing into the hub along the tower's wires, resolving the black light pollution. The lights in the city stabilized, the subway system returned to normal, and the chaos in mortal society subsided instantly. Guan Ting took advantage of the situation and rushed forward, kicking Fei Jun's henchman. "Master, your ambition is like a haze. It cannot be dispersed and cannot block my fist. Yun Shu's silver light whipped and the black light dispersed. June, you have been wrong since the admissions examination. Zixuan's will is the real opportunity. Professor Zhang Wo arrived with reinforcements from the university, and suppressed the hub with golden light from his staff. June, your plan has been exposed. The committee has blocked the family's assets, and the balance of spiritual energy is guarded by us. June's face turned livid, and the black light came back to bite him. He glared at Zixuan. You, an ordinary young man, how dare. Before he finished speaking, Zixuan pointed with a green light, and the power of inheritance sealed his meridians. It's not about whether you dare or not, it's about whether you should. The climax of the decisive battle broke out at the top of the tower, with black and green lights intertwined, like the fusion of campus instruments and ancient formations, and the aura of the power grid spinning like a tornado. Guan Ting braved the aftermath and protected the team with his blood. Brother, hold on. I can withstand it. Yun Shu's resonance increased, and the silver light blocked the army's retreat. There was a tacit understanding in the coldness. Zixuan, end it. Zixuan's will is as majestic as the Great Wall. Green light is injected into the hub, completely purifying the black light, and the green light of the spiritual veins is integrated into the urban veins, resolving all crises. The night sky in the CBD is like a picture restored to life, with neon lights flashing steadily, as if the storm just now never happened. Zixuan stood on the platform at the top of the tower, with the green light gradually converging on his fingertips. His spiritual consciousness swept through the urban veins and confirmed that the spiritual veins had been perfectly integrated with the power grid, and there was no longer the shadow of the black light. He turned around and looked at the team members. Guan Ting wiped the sweat from his forehead, grinning like a buddy who won a street basketball game. Yun Shu put away the silver whip, his silver eyes reflected the night, and breathed a rare sigh of relief. Professor Zhang Wo's staff was still glowing slightly, and he nodded to signal everyone to get on the shuttle. The army retreated, and the figure was captured by the university forces. He growled, this is just the beginning. But Zixuan had no time to care. The growth of inheritance brought his transformation from introverted to active to the peak. While the team was panting, Zhang Wo patted him on the shoulder. Boy, you have maintained your balance. The door of the university is open for you. Guan Ting laughed loudly. Brother, I am proud. Yun Shu smiled slightly. Together, there is still a long way to go. The night sky in the CBD returned to calm, but Zixuan's spiritual sense sensed that deeper shadows were faintly emerging, and the pulse of adventure never stopped. Let's go, boys. Zhang Wo patted Zixuan on the shoulder, his voice less serious and more like the warmth of an elder. The university is waiting for you. The committee will deal with the army's conspiracy. This time, you not only passed the exam, but also maintained the balance of the entire city. The shuttle flew back to the campus at low altitude. Zixuan leaned on his seat, the scene of the admissions examination flashing through his mind. At that time, he was just an ordinary college student who accidentally picked up a jade pendant and stumbled into this world of immortality. Who would have thought that a map of ruins and a secret adventure would turn him from a low-key boy to a guardian of spiritual veins? There was only a moment of emotion in my heart. Will is like an alley in Beijing, winding but always leading to the dawn. The light curtain at the campus entrance opened again, and they headed straight to the auditorium. The lights were brightly lit inside, and on the holographic projection, the green veins of the Beijing map were as smooth as the Yangtze River flowing into the sea, marking the success of the spiritual vein activation. The professors on the committee all stood up, and applause came in waves. A white-haired elder stepped forward and handed Zixuan a crystal-clear school badge. Zixuan, congratulations on your official admission. Your green light inheritance has not only resolved the crisis, but also revived the urban aura into a new era. From now on, Xiuxian University's enrollment will pay more attention to ordinary geniuses like you. Balancing the two worlds is no longer empty talk. Zixuan took the school badge and felt a warm spiritual energy injected into his body, strengthening his spiritual consciousness. He smiled slightly and remained as low-key as before. Thank you, professors. This is not due to me alone. Guan Ting's fist, Yun Shu's silver light and teacher Jiang Wo's guidance are the key. Guan Ting laughed loudly and hugged Zixuan's neck. Brother, don't be humble. Since the first test, you have led your brothers to explore the ruins and explore the spiritual veins, and now you have taken care of Jun's nest. My shoulders are swollen, but it's worth it. That boy Jun is probably gritting his teeth in the committee's prison now. All his family resources have been frozen, and the black light secret technique has been exposed. No matter how ambitious you are, you can't stop our team's punch. Yun Shu stood aside, his silver eyes scanning everyone, and a slight smile on his lips. She approached Zixuan and lightly touched his school badge with her hand. Jun's conspiracy was wrong from the beginning. He wanted to monopolize the spiritual energy and turn the university into the backyard of aristocratic families, but your inheritance makes the spiritual energy nourish everyone like the spring water of Shikahai. My bloodline has also stabilized a lot in the resonance. Zixuan, thank you for letting me see the possibility of balance. Professor Jiang Wo cleared his throat, and a rare smile appeared on his serious face. Yun Shu is right. The military family has been thoroughly investigated by the committee, and their plan to control the power grid has been completely collapsed. After the spiritual veins are activated, the city's hidden caves will gradually open up, and mortals can also benefit indirectly. High-tech instruments will more accurately detect opportunities, and are no longer exclusive to the family. Zixuan, from an ordinary young man, you awakened your bloodline with your tenacity, interpreted the map, and purified the black light. This growth trajectory is the legend of the university. The celebration in the auditorium became lively, with the student elites holding spiritual tea and chatting around them. Zixuan was pulled to the center, and Guan Ting handed over a drink with green light. Come on, brother, let's have a drink. I remember when you first took the test, you were as nervous as the night before the college entrance examination. What about now? With one sweep of your spiritual sense, you can pinpoint the weaknesses of the entire CBD. I'm proud, really. Zixuan took the cup and took a sip. The spiritual energy flowed into his body like warmth. He looked at Guan Ting's passionate smiling face, and memories came flooding back. Guan Ting, without you on the front line, smashing those guardian beasts and array discs, I would have died a long time ago. On the day of the exam, you pulled me into the team and said, brothers, let's go for it together. Those words made me change from hesitation to persistence. From a city boy to a genius who cultivates immortality, it is not talent, but this friendship that pushes me forward. Guan Ting's eyes turned red and he patted his chest. Hey, what are you talking about? We are best friends. Yun Shu, please say a few words and don't keep a cold face. Yun Shu blushed slightly, and his silver eyes softened. I have felt that Zixuan is different from the beginning of the expedition to the ruins. He is low-key and reserved, but always stands up at critical moments. When the military set up the situation, your green light was shared, which made my silver light stronger. Our blood resonates, like the neon lights of Beijing merging with the ancient walls. Zixuan, along the way, you have not only grown, but also taught me to trust. In the future, we will have adventures in college together. Professor Jiang Wo raised his glass and said in a loud voice, boys, listen. The University of Immortality is not the end, but a new starting point. A new era of spiritual veins has come, and the hidden secrets of the city will be revealed layer by layer, but the crisis will always exist. Zixuan, your will, like the Great Wall, protects the balance. This is the true way of cultivating immortals. Come, do it for friendship and growth. Everyone clinked glasses and laughter echoed in the auditorium. Zixuan's heart was calm, and he reflected for only a moment. From the accident of picking up the jade pendant to the peak of activating the spiritual veins, this journey taught him that ordinary people can also light up the fantasy world. The roar of the army is a thing of the past, his ambition has cleared like a haze, and the blockade of the committee has made it impossible for the family to turn over. The boundary between city and cultivation will be clearer but more harmonious, and the cave under the high-rise building will be open to more people. After the celebration, they took a walk on the campus paths. The night wind carried the spiritual mist, mixing with the honking of cars in the distance. Guan Ting stretched himself. Brother, classes will start tomorrow, can you teach me the secret of the green light? I want to strengthen my fists and smash more organs. Zixuan nodded and replied with a smile, okay, but you have to teach me the secret of your physique. Don't always rush to the front and suffer a disadvantage. Yunshu walked beside and said softly, I am responsible for interpreting the next ruins map. Our team is invincible. Jiangwo followed behind and said with emotion, looking at you, I think of the admissions school back then. Zixuan, remember, perseverance and friendship are the foundation of cultivating immortality. Go ahead, the future is yours. Zixuan looked into the depths of the campus, feeling endless possibilities with his spiritual sense. From an ordinary young man to a genius who cultivates immortality, he has transformed, but his original intention remains unchanged. The urban adventure journey has come to a successful conclusion, and the beginning of a new era has begun. Friendship is like a spiritual vein that never dries up, will is like a green light that lights the way forward.